Welcome, everyone, to this bi-week special. My name is Aldo Gandia. We have a great cast of people. I'm going to start by introducing my buddy, Jeff Willis. He is the co-host. Let me fix that shot there. There you go. He is the co-host of the Willis Twin Towers podcast. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm excited for our show. It's gonna be a great time.
Well, not only are you on, you are the co-host. You'll be taking some of the segments. We've got about a little more than a half dozen segments planned for discussion points, and so you'll be handling some of those, and that way I can go in the background and smoke some marijuana and drink some bourbon and stuff like that, because that's what you do when you're retired.
Do I get some breaks like that in between the show? Does that work out for me, or how's that?
You should have come properly loaded. Let me next welcome in Nomad of the Nomad Network. How are you, brother?
Yo, fellas. Glad to be back at the mothership, man, where it was all born from, man. The mothership connection right now. Hey, man, you know what? Nobody's beating Aldo in the visual department as far as everything goes. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it my best, but there is no messing with this guy as far as that goes, man. That's the best. I'm telling you, Aldo, you're the man when it comes to that.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. It was fun putting that together. I got another little video that we'll share later on. But first, let's get through the introductions and a couple of the topics. Let me welcome in Claus next. Claus, how are you, brother?
What's up, everyone? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. My name is Claus. I run Claus Up, Bear Down on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all those different things. But I'm really glad and excited to be here. And the intro was awesome. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on. And then we started going. The music started going. But I'm excited to be here and fired up.
Thank you. That's one of the things that I love to do here at the Barroom is just play around with the videos and have some fun. But the first and foremost, it's all about the Chicago Bears. I think I can speak for everyone that's going to be on the show. We all love this team, despite the fact that they don't love us back.
Although I would love to be your apprentice, man. Show me some things, man. I know you can show me a tip or two to do this stuff, man.
Absolutely. We'll talk.
All right.
Let me welcome in a Barroom contributor for years. We haven't had him on in quite some time, so I'm excited that he's here with us, and that is Swanky. Swanky, my man, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It felt good to get out of that Vegas tough one, man. Woo!
Yeah.
I thought I was going into the bye week going, I'm going to get to relax this Sunday. I'm going to the pool, the beach. I'm going to relax. But I see Nomad has joined us. So I got to bring my game. It's no bye week tonight. I got to bring my A game because I know Nomad's bringing his A game. And although, how far back do we go, my brother?
Jeez, got to be 7-8 years now, man.
Oh, man. I remember it was
longer than that. Yeah, longer than that.
So I think 2019 was when I first started listening. So, the Barroom community, always love you guys. And I'm excited. We're back to 2-2. So it feels so good, man. And I'm ready to get into it with you guys. So.
Well, that is our first discussion point, which is that game in Las Vegas, the Bears and Raiders. I'd love to get your comments on what you think transpired in that game. What were the highlights and stuff? And Swanky, we'll start with you, okay? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that game?
Well, traditionally, my mind going into this game was I was a little scared because I don't know how many times we've seen it. But the Bears win a big game at home. They go on the road and they shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over. They're not prepared. They're not ready. They're ill-advised with penalties. The offense can't move the ball. When we got 2 interceptions by Kevin Byard, it made me feel this team's ready to make a big step in the right direction today. I think early on, Oakland, wanted it a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. But give Ben Johnson a lot of credit. Let's not forget, this is just his 4th game in the NFL. He is still learning the strengths and weaknesses of this personnel that has been given to him. And for him to, as he's learning this team and this personnel, for him to come away with the win, that's a really, really big step for him as a coach, and a really big step forward to the foundation that he's really wanting to build here.
Outstanding. Claus, what do you think about that victory in Las Vegas?
Man, I think it's a big culture win. I think it's a shift in from what we've seen in the past. I believe the Bears were able to find ways to manufacture a way to win in the end. I think it was great to see Caleb yet again have a fourth quarter comeback where he was able to lead the team and get after them and able to get that score in. I thought it was a total team win in the end, right? Because the defense played great and the offense wasn't playing as well at times. Offense closed the game out. And then, of course, the block kick by the special teams was great to see. So I'm very excited about that win because as cool as it was to see the offense dominate Dallas, it's almost better to see them be able to win that way in a gritty, tough way to do it because it speaks a lot more about their culture. And in years past, the Bears have always lost that, and especially last year. Multiple games they lost that way. So to be on the other side of that and to see them not panic and to see Caleb Williams continue to transcend and get better and better every week is awesome.
Nomad, center stage. It's all yours.
You know what, fellas? I agree with a lot of what I just heard. And Swanky, don't underestimate yourself with that smooth ass voice of yours, man. So, I'm going to say this, and this is the bad news. It felt like to me, I was in a bad place early in that game because it looked like they were trying everything that they can do to give them this game. It was like they were doing everything possible, but for the second week in a row, fellas, it was Tyreek Stevenson that made that GCP. That game-changing play, man. 2 weeks in a row, man. That guy doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He got jumped on by the masses of the Bears fans, podcasters. Everybody jumped on him and was like, "Hey, what are we gonna do with this guy? This guy's messing up the team and all this kind of stuff, man." But he seemed to rise to the challenge. I'm telling you, he made game-changing plays the last couple of weeks. And speaking to that game we just watched, that interception coming out in the second half was a momentum changer. That everything. We went right down the field and scored right after that, man. I think Tyreek Stevenson deserves a lot more credit than he's getting right now. But, I do believe that, and I was saying this on the podcast recently, actually, as a matter of fact, post-game, that when you find ways to win, that's the confidence that the confidence I saw Caleb Williams playing with as that game went on, it's very refreshing, man. So I got a lot of enthusiasm about this right now because it's really fun doing podcasts and content creation for the Bears community when we're getting wins. It's these wins, man. Come on, man.
How true is that? We've got a new guest coming in. I'll bring him in right after I get Tim's thoughts on the victory over the Raiders. Excuse me.
Aldo, oh my God!
I can't tell
I've
you
never
guys
been more thoroughly. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's not embarrassed. It's just like
you hate me right now, right? Don't you?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Jeff has a twin brother named Tim, and I just fucked up. So anyway, save me with some astute analysis.
You're certainly not the first person that's ever done that. You know that by now. In any case, that was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. Ben Johnson alluded to the culture win in the post-game video that the team, put out there on the X account. But yeah, that's exactly what it was. In years past, we see these guys. First of all, you don't see 60 minutes of fight like you did, on Sunday in past years. You just didn't see that. You'd see them crumble or fold late in the game when things weren't going their way. They didn't handle adversity well. And now you see them when things are.
Ooh, got him.
That's a nice.
Still found a way.
Go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah. They still found a way to get it done. They won a game where all odds were against them a lot of times. And I think it's funny that I was watching, if you guys aren't familiar with Gabriel Talks Football here on the Barroom on Mondays, I was listening to Greg talk about how he never really, throughout the game as he was watching, he kind of felt like the Bears were going to win the whole way. And really, honest to God, as I was watching the game instinctually, I kind of felt that the whole time too. Like they were going to find a way to get it done, even though it wasn't looking good for a majority of the game. And it wasn't until the very end, right before that field goal was about to get kicked, where I started questioning, man, maybe they are going to finally lose this damn thing. And then sure enough, Blackwell saves the day with an amazing play. Again, when would you ever see that happening for the Bears. It only happens against the Bears in the past. So
Yep.
that was a really nice thing to see. So I totally agree with everything you guys said. Huge win, big time going into the bye week. The momentum completely shifts in a positive direction, and we're 500 going into it. So I really like the direction ahead. They have a chance to assess everything, and you guys are exactly right. It's a lot easier to look at things after a win.
Indeed. I am so anxious to introduce our next guest here, G. Walker. How are you, brother?
What's going on, man? How y'all feeling today, man?
What's up,
Feeling
man?
good. Look at he's wearing that Cubs hat.
Yeah,
I wonder
Cubs,
why.
baby.
1-1. Yeah, 1-0, baby.
Nice. G. Walker, tell people a little bit about yourself and the work you're doing as a content creator for the Chicago Bears.
What's going on, everybody? I'm G. Walker, the CNG Podcast, man. I've been doing the Bears content for about 3 years. Not only do we do podcasts, we do quarterback play. We do a weekly show, pregame, postgame. I do memes. I do content creation. I do everything. So when you come to the CNG Podcast with me and my fellas, CJ and Allen, that's what we give you. We give you funny. We give you analysis. We give you pregame shows, postgame shows, man. So we give it all to you guys, man.
The Black Neo of the Matrix is his sub-headline there. I love it.
Yeah.
When I asked him, how should we refer to you? He said, G. Walker. I go, any relation to Luke Skywalker? And he said, shut the fuck up.
That's my cousin on my dad's side, man. You know, I'm mixed, man. So I got it all. On me.
Okay. Gee, we were on the topic of the Bears win against the Raiders. Why do you think we won that game? What was big about that game for you?
I mean, I just think that we wanted it more than they did. You know what I mean? We had every reason to lose that game, but it seemed like the Raiders was giving us every reason to win that game. Mm-hmm. Whether it was Geno Smith with interceptions and fumbling and everything, it would just seem like two teams that were pretty much almost similar. I think we had a better quarterback. We have a better quarterback. I think we have a better offensive coordinator, play caller, Ben Johnson. And I think we got a little bit better defense, even though our defense is just hemmed up and nobody's here. But Tyreek Stevenson that stepped up 2 weeks in a row. Then you got the captain, Kevin Byard, who stepped up with 2 interceptions. So it seemed like it was tough, but it seemed like towards the end, through the whole game, we had everything that was working for us. And if Caleb Williams is really the number 1 overall pick, then the cream rises to the top. If Ben Johnson is really who we think he is, then we win games like that. That was a very winnable game, and it was for once. We didn't have a stupid coach not using timeouts. We didn't know how to use clock management. It all worked together. So we're seeing everything that we should have saw last season against teams that we should beat.
I love it. Great analysis. All right. What was kind of a player or a play that you really want to shout out for their performance? Claus, I know you kind of covered it a little bit, but I'm hoping that you will name the player that I've got in my mind. You know, can you read my mind, Claus?
Well, I mentioned Caleb Williams' name, so I'm guessing you're going to say Caleb Williams, and I think that Caleb is really showing his leadership ability by mimicking the coach. He's starting to really take on that personality. He's seems very dedicated and calm in moments. Today in his presser, he talked about how in that moment he feels like his blood pressure goes down. He's able to really focus when it matters the most. And I think that is an invaluable quality in a quarterback and a leader and an athlete to be able to play at his best. And we've seen it we're at 19 games of him playing or whatever it is at this point, 21 games. It feels like that's true. When he had the ball in his hands and they were down by a touchdown, like he's going to score. He's going to find a way to win. And I think that quality is what makes people great. You know, it's how you talk about the greats in a long time. How many game winners did he have? And he should have had more last year. And the coaching staff and his growth as a quarterback and as a leader has put him in a position to continue, and he has earned the right to win these games that are close. And I thought it was a little bit too much time left in the clock. I was worried about it, but man, I'm proud of the young kid. He has more pressure. Is there anybody has more scrutiny, more pressure in the entire NFL than Caleb Williams, especially for a young player? But to be able to go out there and get that win and lead the team down is something very, very special. And I am so grateful he's a Chicago Bears quarterback.
I'm with you, man. Absolutely. Let me acknowledge Lutz, the reporter, $9.99 donation. Really appreciate it. He writes, as all those aware, I published my prediction. Pete Carroll would have Raiders D fired up to demolish the Bears. Raiders D gave 100%, but the Bears didn't quit. This is Ben Johnson's and Caleb's team. Yeah, Lutz, you nailed it. And check out Lutz's work. You can find his work on Twitter or X. Just look for Lutz, the reporter. I think his name will pop up, and he does some writing over at Patch every week. It's a really nice column to read, and if you're nice to him, he'll give you a shout out like it did to me one time. Lutz, you're the man, brother. Thanks very much. All right, Nomad, we're going to go counterclockwise here, and then we'll go to Jeff and G. Walker. Excuse me, let me switch this up, and then to Swanky. Nomad, what play or player do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, shout out to Lutz, the reporter, man. I will look for your content on X when I'm back on there, and I'll share it with the people on the channel, man. So appreciate you for that, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to go back to Tyreek, and the reason why is football, a game, it really comes down to a couple of two or three plays during the game that are momentum changes that kind of you can turn the volume down on a game. I say this all the time. You can turn the volume down on a game and just listen to it silent, and you can look on there and see which team has the momentum and which team doesn't. Sometimes you'll see it on the sidelines. Sometimes you see that extra pep in the step of some football player or the whole team. You'll see it. You can feel it. It's tangible. Tyreek Stevenson, for a couple of weeks in a row, again, man, made game-changing plays that gave the Bears the momentum. And that was, again, breathing confidence into a team that needs some. And now you stack victories like that. And the way they did it, this last game was really important because technically I think we should have won that game. I think everybody would agree with that. We should have won that game, but they were figuring out ways to give that game away. And that guy went out there in the second half and made a play right away. And everything just kind of blossomed from there. That's, I just look at the game and I look at energy for the most part. Later on, you can break down the film and start itemizing who did what, who didn't do what. But when you're live watching a game, I'm looking for energy. And I've seen game-changing plays the last couple of weeks, and that's a confident team. They're looking for their moments to take this game away from whatever team they're playing against. And I think that bodes, it gives me a lot of confidence in whoever they play against moving forward. I think they'll stand a chance because you got guys that can make plays to switch the momentum. I think that's the key to it, Aldo.
That sounds good, man. I love the analysis here. This is better than anything I hear on ESPN, CBS. And when it comes to the Bears, because my one of the reasons we started the Barroom Network is you listen to these national commentators and they don't know what the hell is going on in Chicago.
Right.
I listen to Nomad and Claus and G. Walker and Jeff and Swanky, and I get a better idea about my Chicago Bears than I do when I'm listening to Dan Orlovsky or any of these other fools that are making millions of dollars. Jeff, your turn. Give me a player or a player.
Well, you're kind of tempted to say guys like Josh Blackwell because he blocks the field goal that wins the game, or even Tyreek Stevenson with his big plays, or Kevin Byard with his interceptions. But I kind of tend to agree with Claus, and I'm gonna go with Caleb for a couple of reasons. For one, yeah, he missed some throws in the game, but you're consistently seeing this kid get better every single week, even in the face of adversity, even when they're not playing as well. The run game, they couldn't get that going at all. They were relying on the pass game for the offense to get anything going. And he pretty much delivered for the most part. There were some drops from some players. Cole Kmet probably played the worst game of his life. And I can say that as a Notre Dame fan, watching him play for 3 years at Notre Dame. Is probably the worst game I've ever seen out of him. So seeing that from him, the drops he had in that game, seeing some of the other plays that were missed. And like I said, he did miss on some throws himself. But, something you said, Claus, kind of caught my attention because I was thinking about that myself. His press conference today, he's talking about how his heart rate drops when he gets into those critical moments, those 2-minute situations. Ben Johnson talks about all the time the situational football and how important that is. You see this kid consistently excel in those moments. At least this year he has so far. And the thing is, it kind of reminded me of guys talk about Joe Montana back in the Super Bowl. I believe it was in '89 when they were playing, or '88 when they were playing Cincinnati. And they were all in the huddle. It was late in the game. It was one of those drives to win the football game. And he's real calm in the huddle, and everybody's looking around him, looking for the play and advice and everything. And he kind of is like looking around in the stands, and he's like, "Hey guys, I think that's John Candy out there in the stands." And they're all like, they can't believe that he's so calm that he's pointing out John Candy out in the stands. And he's not all, anxious and everything about the game and the fact they're trying to win the Super Bowl right now. They're down. So to me, that's kind of the vibe that I get here. I'm not comparing him to Joe Montana, one of the greatest players of all time yet, but you like to see that kind of late game and big situation play from a guy like that, somebody who's ready to go in those moments, because it's not just football. In a lot of other sports, you see big time athletes in those moments crumble or unable to just make things happen in those moments. And that's when you know that's not necessarily the guy. And you might have the guy when somebody's doing those things. So that's a really good thing to see from him. And it's really, what's the word I'm looking for? Optimistic for us for his future.
Swanky, what you got for me?
Well, I'm gonna topple right off of Nomad, and my pick was Tyreek Stevenson, and Tyreek Stevenson. I mean, what happened last year in Washington, completely unforgivable. I would have cut him off the team if I was the general manager or the head coach. Unacceptable, unforgivable. Your best defensive player, Jalen Johnson, goes out. Tyreek Stevenson has to step up and has to play at a high level. Ben Johnson, you hear the way he talks in his press conferences. 2 weeks ago, we heard this team has yet to practice consistently at a championship caliber level. Tyreek Stevenson, you need to decide right now if you want to be a part of what Ben Johnson is trying to establish and the foundation he's trying to build here. I know it's hard being a Chicago Bear. I mean, Cole Kmet and Tyreek Stevenson, I mean, these guys have had, 3 coaches? Cole Kmet has had 3 coaches and 3 quarterbacks in his, 6-7 year stint. I get it. There's a lot of turnover and there's a lot of transition, but you have what you have. And Tyreek Stevenson, you need to step up and decide if you want to be a part of this. Let me tell you guys, this is a physical specimen, a talented physical player out of the University of Miami. When you watch him on tape coming out of college, he just looked like a Chicago Bear. Devin Hester goes up and picks him. The moment was so perfect when we got him here in the second round. He has all the tools and all the attributes, but are you going to ascend, or are you not going to step up to the plate? Do you not want to get a contract extension, and do you not want to be a part of what they're doing here? And the big play he made, the interception he made, he did a great job in coverage the other day. He's stepping up when he's most needed right now. So Tyreek Stevenson, good job, man. I mean, you're doing everything that you need to be doing right now, and you really couldn't ask for more. So show us you want to be here.
I love everybody's answer. Why is there an echo? I don't know, but it'll probably go away. But I love everybody's answer, but that's not the player I was thinking of. And Foster covered it. The Canadian Eagle moved tackle spots and played extremely solid game at both tackle positions. Now, I got to give Brian Baldinger, some credit, because he posted a video on X's Baldy's breakdowns, and he really cut it down. I mean, and he did a sensational job of analyzing the play, first at right tackle, then at left tackle, and then also in his storytelling, he built up the drama. I mean, the guy got better and better and made more and more key blocks as the game goes on. And we know how difficult it is for a guy who has not gotten the reps in preseason to come in and play at a high level, especially against perhaps the best defensive player in the NFL in Max Crosby. Theo Benedict, to me, deserves to be the starting left tackle and as soon as we come back from the bye, and give him as long as a leash as possible. And that's a topic we're going to talk about a little later in the show, is the interior, what's going on with the offensive line and the defensive line and so forth. But Theo Benedict, to me, is a godsend. He could be one of the big things that could turn around the offensive line play if he continues to play at the level that we saw in Vegas. Anybody want to argue with that point?
No, but I definitely agree with you, because it seemed like the offensive line once the bleeding stopped, because it was murder out there with Max Crosby on that right side of that other line. It was absolutely disgusting. Once that guy got out of the game and Audrey Trapillo came in, we saw the 6'8" baby bear hold his own, man. The baby polar bear was holding his own. Then you see Theo go to the left side because everything starts up front, right? So if the offensive line is not protecting, then you get stuff like where Max Crosby is giving you a forced fumble and an interception and tip balls, and he's doing all of this stuff in the first half. And then when they come to the second half, we got a smart enough organization and coaching staff say, hey, let's put the baby polar bear in the game on the right side. Theo, you've been a little bit better than Braxton Jones on the left side. Let's get this right and get these edges together, and that's exactly what happened. So shout out to the coaching staff for making that adjustment at halftime and making sure we get Caleb Williams in the groove and get his feet set and his mechanics set and everything so we can make sure we win this game, and that's exactly what happened. So the offensive line, Dan Roshar, Ben Johnson, great adjustment mid-game. Great adjustment mid-game.
Lutz showed up to the barroom buying drinks for everyone. Another $10 donation. He's got this question: do the Bears players play harder because Ben Johnson does a real good infected with rabies imitation in the after-game locker room celebration? I don't know if they do, but I'll tell you what, the guy is inspiring. There is just no doubt about it. I mean, if fans can feel it, on a little video that the Bears social media team put together, I'm sure everybody in that locker room is feeling it too. It was funny when he did that routine that is becoming famous now. I was watching Caleb behind him, and it was like he was at church. I have spent a lot of time at gospel churches and so forth because I did videos on African-American preachers in the south side of Chicago, and he looked like one of those guys who was praising the Lord, man. I am telling you, he has bought into Ben Johnson's leadership, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Hey, you know what? I would have a take on that Theo Benedict one. One of the things that I get pretty irritated with is, to me, if you make it to the NFL, take it from me, you're a good ass football player. Number one, if you make it to the NFL, you can play some goddamn football. Number one. Number two is I don't like it when people just say we're in the off season and we just pick up some free agent from here or there, and everybody is rushing to put that label on him. Oh, he's not that. He didn't make it on this team or that team. You got to understand that it's a process for everybody. Everybody has their process. Like you'll see a guy that you will swear to the Lord that this guy's going to be a great football player in college, and he gets to the NFL and it's not showing. It's not showing at all. And in fact, it's not showing for a couple, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. And all of a sudden, a player will hit his stride. The point I'm trying to get at is really doesn't matter where you get a player. It's about where he's at in development. And obviously they feel pretty confident about him. I would add this to it. I was one of the proponents of and I got jumped on tremendously by the people that support the channel, man. And I understood why. I said they probably should give Darnell Wright some left tackle reps. And I said this a long time ago. And I still think that was a mistake for them not doing that, because the more you can cross-train all of these guys, the better off you will be as far as your depth goes. And so I felt like they should have, but who knows what happens in this bye week. Maybe they do start giving them some reps over there. Maybe they'll lean Theo Benedict, but if Darnell Wright starts to perform in practice, he was pretty good to me. I know it's a lot of people that say he wasn't a good left tackle in college. I'd beg to differ with that. I would.
I just have a hard time with them not actually attacking the left tackle position before the season. And that's the part that's hard for me, is like, we all saw this coming, right? Did anyone not see Braxton Jones not being good enough to be the left tackle?
Right.
Sitting in here. No, we all saw it coming, and they still didn't address it. You took a right tackle and hoped that he could play left. And so now looks like you have a pretty good young right tackle, but you also have a top 10 pick at right tackle. Right. You don't really have a true left tackle. Yeah. What you do have is an undrafted free agent from Canada. Now, hopefully he's the answer. You know what I mean? But I personally would like to see eventually a Big Ten or SEC player playing left tackle for Caleb Williams. And so I think they have to attack that position still. And so I'm not surprised we're at this point where they're shuffling guys around mid-Max Crosby week, which is a lot, and they stepped up to the plate. And hopefully Theo's the answer in the long run. But I think that their lack of preparedness for that position is pretty infuriating with this regime.
It's a side of the ball. I mean, the offensive line, you guys have seen it. I remember after Jay Cutler's first season, the Bears, not great offensive line play. You're throwing the ball to Johnny Knox and Devin Hester, and they go sign Julius Peppers for $100 million. You see Ryan Poles a couple years ago saying, this is the most depth I've ever seen on any offensive line. Right. Caleb Williams is the most sacked quarterback in football, and you fire your head coach and offensive coordinator. So it's just something that they have just never. I think it's just a side of the ball they've neglected. I think all of Chicago might get mad when I say this. I was stomping for Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, and because of that exact thing that you're talking about, Claus, you have an opportunity to draft a left tackle that's going to be there for the next 10, 12 years. I know Roma Dunze and he's awesome. I'm super glad that we have him. You have a weapon that Caleb can grow with, hopefully, we hope, for the next 10, 12, 15 years. But, once again, Ryan Poles, it's your third or fourth year, and it's a side of the ball the Bears have historically neglected. It's going to be really thin. Your options are slim. So you really need like a Theo to step up, because this is a premier position in the NFL. And if you don't have this right, you get a little weary in Hallis Hall, but you're hoping that a guy like Theo can fill that void. And so, yeah.
It just makes you kind of think, like, how much patience is Ben Johnson going to have dealing with this?
3.5 games. 3.5 games is the patience level he had.
Yeah, because he's been here, and we all see how Ben is very direct. He's very decisive. He's very in your face. He's very blunt. He's very calculated. And he's very ready to go. So this first draft, I'm just thinking, we didn't get the left tackle that we should have gotten. How is that going to resonate with the next draft with Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson? Because I can't see it not being handled now. Like, how much trust is really up there? Just thinking.
Well, I was thinking what Swanky was thinking. Like, last year, I thought it should be addressed. And then this season, I thought it was going to be addressed. And then I still like the Loveland pick, but he hasn't been used, and now he's hurt again, right? And I like the Luther Burden pick, but he hasn't been used except for one game. So you still have huge holes that have not been fixed, and they have built outside in instead of inside out. Yes. And your GM is an offensive lineman, and he hates offensive linemen. It's incredible that the Bears are at this spot, because it's still it's not fixed. It's not. They're duct taping a hole in a bucket. They're hoping that it's going to be all right, but they still need to fix that position.
You know what, G. Walker? I would argue, and this is just based off the picks. I would argue that the first couple 2-3 picks is more Ben Johnson than Ryan Poles. Like, it's hard for me to
for sure.
I mean, I'll just stop there. Go ahead.
Good point.
And it's just that because you can tell who's picked who. If it's all on up and up, right? The 10th overall pick is a tight end. 39th overall pick is a wide receiver. Then you get to 56, Boston College. My dad knows Ryan Poles, and you pick this dude. And you pick him who's more comfortable at right tackle when you have a right tackle that's starting who's soon going to be looking for an extension to get paid. So it make sense.
I think it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, I was waiting till we got into this with just the power dynamic at Hallis Hall, and it's such a long conversation. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get into it later, but I think it's just so obvious, the drafting of Colson Loveland and Luther Burden with your two top 40 picks just screams that this is Ben Johnson's world. We are all living in it. And this was the deal coming in. This was the deal. Hey, I don't know. I could go to the Jets. I could go to the Raiders. I could go to all the other shitty franchises. If I'm going to come to your shitty franchise, I have the power. Go back. I advise everyone, watch, and I watched it the other day, watch Ryan Poles call Luther Burden. And when they draft him, look at his face. That is not the guy he wanted to take. What was he, 38 or 39?
39, yeah.
39. That is not the guy he wanted to take. So, it really speaks to the, the control and power that Ben Johnson has. And I could go and abbreviate it so much. I'm sure we'll get into it more, but very much so. I think it's Ben's world. We're all living in it.
Think about it in this sense. When did Ryan Poles get his extension? Before or after the draft?
Before.
I thought it was after.
Before, I thought it was after. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's after.
draft.
Okay, so the litmus test was how well could these two coincide with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, right afterwards, Ben Johnson got his way pretty much in the draft, and Ryan Poles got his extension. To me, a healthy relationship between GM and head coach, and this is just to me, people can differ with it. I think the best relationship between GM and a head coach and his coaching staff is you defer to the coach. As far as whatever we draft, you might have your own ideas about what we need. I've been for so many years, but don't get me groceries that I can't cook with. If I'm the coach, the groceries that I ask you for, here's the list. You go get them. That's your job. You know, we need to make a deal or a trade for somebody. Hey, that's your world, but we need this player. That's the role to me. That's a healthy relationship.
I agree, 1,000%.
I'll just go ahead. Go ahead, Swanky. I'll finish you off.
Thank you. It's such an interesting dynamic, and you know, it's the bye week, so you know, we don't have to play this Sunday. So really, you know, the focus here, kind of thinking more in the macro right now. It's such an interesting power dynamic. I don't think that the Bears have ever had a head coach come in right off the bat with this much power, this much personnel control. They're all going to say that, oh, well, Ryan Poles picks the players and Kevin Warren overlooks. Well, Kevin Warren was hired after Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, where that's his job, and they hired him after the two most important things. So, you know, you almost I view it in two ways. One, I feel much more comfortable with Ben Johnson, you know, fist on the wall saying, I need Jeremiah Love in this next draft.
Yeah.
Where he has a guy that he brings over from Detroit or someone he's familiar with that shares his philosophy, saying, hey, Ben, we got to get an edge rusher. Hey, Ben, we got to go left tackle. But, you know, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, I bet they don't see eye to eye, and you need some sort of dissension in the room. And maybe that kind of awkwardness and that forced alignment by George McCaskey and company might actually be benefiting to them, although Ben has the end say. So you want someone that shares his philosophy in building a team, but that kind of awkward dissension now that has been established between Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, I'm really, really curious, you know, in these next couple months and years as they continue to go together, how that will coincide. And it's really going to be so interesting, you know, when Poles.
We can't make the same mistakes again. Like, you cannot miss on an edge rusher. You cannot miss on the left side. You cannot miss on a running back. Like, somebody has to put the foot like, yo, this is it, bro.
And how is that power dynamic going to work when Poles, I need to get an edge rusher here, but Ben is saying, I'm drafting this running back from Notre Dame, and this is my guy. So that relationship and that structure and that power dynamic is what's going to make this team boom to the highest levels or keep us mediocre like we've been in the last
years. Dare I say, dare I say that a healthy relationship between those two guys might end in somebody getting choked the hell out.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the real relationship is that Ben Johnson makes $13 million a year and that Ryan Poles makes $1 million a year. So someone's making the decisions, and it's probably not going to end up being
the
Ryan
guy getting
Poles.
$60 million.
Yes. And I trust Ben Johnson to make the right call, and I hope that they start doing it. And I'm watching that Las Vegas game, and I go, this is a Ryan Poles special. I go, Crosby's everywhere. We can't get any rush. You can't nothing from a running back position. This is a Ryan Poles special, and a couple of them have been. And the coaches saved the GM multiple times already this season, right? And it's Ryan Poles is an interesting character because he really has done some cool things and he's done some boneheaded things, and it is going to be interesting to see who ends up making these decisions as they go on in the relationship.
I love the way we've kind of naturally moved into our second topic, State of the Bears. And let's kind of stay on that subject of Poles and Ben Johnson. I guess for me, it seems to me like Poles has to realize that this is Ben Johnson's team, and I'm going to do whatever he and the coaching staff wants in terms of getting players and signing free agents and so forth. My problem with Ryan Poles right now is that I think he's got a clean house with that scouting department. I do not trust who they've brought in from the pro personnel department. I mean, Grady Jarrett was great. Underline was. And then there's other veteran players that they've acquired who have just not worked out, and some of the draft picks, who should be paying dividends
right now.
Are not. And I love Dervon Dexter, and I expected this to be his breakout year. But through 4 games, he has not broken out. And now I'm starting to question, was that the right guy to draft? So let's delve into this topic. Jeff, I haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think about the scouting department from the Chicago Bears? Do you think that there potentially should be some moves with who he has hired? Because if this team doesn't win this year, I got to believe that the businessman Kevin Warren is going to say, I just signed you to an extension, so I can't fire you. But you need to fire some of those guys helping you making these scouting decisions. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, let me preface it by saying I agree with all you guys talking about this dynamic with Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, because Greg talks about this all the time. The GM is not going to draft a guy that the coach doesn't want because it doesn't make any sense. He's not going to use him. So it's going to be a wasted pick. And if he does use him, it's not going to be in the best interest of the player or the team because he doesn't want him. So to me, I totally agree with that. They're only going to take guys that Ben Johnson signs off on. So moving into this situation with the scouting department, for one, I totally agree with you, Aldo, especially on the pro side. They have struggled mightily bringing in free agents from other teams that do absolutely nothing when they get to the Bears. Let's think of all the big money free agents that the Bears have signed over the last couple of years, and let's see if any of them have been productive. Nate Davis, complete bust. Dio so far has done basically nothing, and he's a $16 million player. They traded for Montez Sweat and then extended him. He's done basically nothing since he's been here, outside of the 6 sacks he had in the first 6 games. Who else? Who am I missing on right now outside of that? There's been barely any that have done anything. So my whole point is, yes, you're 100% right. That pro scouting group has done a very lackluster job to this point. As far as the college scouting, there have been some hits. Sure, a lot of it has been traits-based guys that they've brought in and have developed to an extent. And also, they've also, drafted guys like Caleb and Rome at the top of the draft, and Caleb was the guy they were going to have no matter what. That's who they were going to take. So there's not a whole lot of scouting involved in that outside of what Ryan Poles is doing himself, because that was his guy from all accounts that we've seen. So I'm sure he dove into that head first himself. So I do agree. The scouting staff they got to do something there. I don't know if you can overturn the entire thing in one off season, and they won't do anything until after the draft because that's just how it goes. But I do anticipate after April's draft that we will certainly see some changes, especially in the pro side. But I bet we see some guys that have connections to either Poles or Cunningham or Ben Johnson in Detroit or Miami, or some of these other guys will come into the scouting staff now who have worked with these guys in the past.
I'm really chomping at the bit. I hope there's no particular order because this one really.
Go for it.
This one. Listen, number one, Ryan Poles, you need some help in the scouting department? Google me. I'm just saying. I ain't that far away. I'm just saying. But listen, man, you guys have always been in. Every one of you guys, I'm just going to assume, have been in a team structure. You go through team meetings, and you always have these. Depending on where you're at and what part of life you've been in, you might have been an integral part of whatever the team meeting was about and being an integral part of the team, right? Listen, it seems to me like they have too many yes men around Ryan Poles. There's not enough, dare I say, assholes around Ryan Poles. That's not scared to get fired. The guy that's going to make you drink cheap ass brandy at the end of the night. I mean, anything you can get your hands on, because this dude is riling my feathers, but I can't help but to think about the way he's challenging my way of thinking. And so to me, it sounds like he's got a bunch of cronies and a bunch of guys that'll kind of, fluff him up a little bit instead of challenging him. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like to me. I'm not in that room. I'm not in that building. I wouldn't know. But from the outside looking in, it feels like there's not enough challenge to authority to me.
And I agree 1,000% because the tree is rotten. the fruit you're bearing is not good. It's not good. It hasn't been good since Dominique Robinson decided to have a sack. It's like, what are we doing? He's still here.
Yeah,
go ahead, Claus. But you look at the fruit, it's just like, what are we doing after so long?
I feel like the age of accountability is just started in Hallis Hall. I think that Ben Johnson is ushering that in, and I think it starts from him. And I know there's a topic where I had this kind of written out for to talk about later, but like Ben Johnson's, even his ability to talk about accountability when it came to the reporter, himself, right? He's leading from the front. I did this bad. I want to do that differently. We need to do this better. Getting rid of Braxton Jones in the middle of the game. That accountability is starting to creep in because that is Ben Johnson's vision. And if they can all be that way, if that trickles, it needs to trickle up, I guess, or if Ben Johnson at the top of the pyramid, it needs to trickle down, and hopefully Ryan Poles is being accountable, and he goes, man, I have messed some things up. I need to learn from this talented head coach I just hired and try to figure out what we need to do better. But it's tough because like after week 2, I was like, fire everybody again. That's where I was. I was like, fire Ryan Poles. I can't do it. You know, we just can't keep going. But you don't want to have the same cycle of suck where it's like the GM picks the quarterback, they hire new coach. The coach doesn't pick the quarterback. They fire the GM. Now it's a new GM hasn't picked either. And so they have to make it work somehow. Right. Mm-hmm. And I just, you want to see these things start to happen, but already this draft doesn't feel tangible in the results of what is going on a week-to-week basis. Shamar Turner's nowhere to be seen. Finally, the Ozzy's allowed to play, I guess, and then he shuts down Max Crosby. So what are you seeing in practice that he all of a sudden you're like, no, he can play. Go ahead and deal with Max Crosby. And then he just handles Max Crosby fine. Right. So that's where the freaking the Boston College tree finally worked out for everybody. Yeah. But it needs to be better, and they need to find ways. But it's the age of accountability, and it's starting with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, and that age of accountability, starting with Ben Johnson, it builds into, I think, a lot of the decisions that Ryan Poles makes and the foundation of what he wants to do. Believe it or not, guys, I think it stems from George McCaskey and his constituents and what they've always wanted to have in Chicago. I remember Ryan Poles' first 2 draft picks were Jaquan Brisker and then Kyler Gordon. I just feel like there's a certain comfort level that Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus get, going defense, old-fashioned defensive coach. So, it's kind of that yes man philosophy that trickles all the way down from the top. Well, now here comes Ben Johnson. Mm-hmm. And Ben Johnson says, Ben Johnson makes it clear, I'm not going to go to a bad franchise and a franchise that won't take care of me. He took this job in 20 minutes.
Right.
So you have to really step in and know that he's going to, he has his agenda and way of doing things. The Chicago Bears, they never go out and sign the biggest center in free agent. They did. They never give up a 4th round pick for, a Pro Bowl left guard in Tooney. They have good weapons coming into the season. They overdrafted on weaponry. Mm-hmm. And I don't, people are so critical. Well, Luther Burden and Colson Levin haven't gotten action. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're early in their careers. I just love it because it's sure. The Bears have never done these things. They've never overdrafted. When they had Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, they didn't go back in the draft and draft a wide receiver in the first round. They've never overinvested or taken the best center in free agency. So these are Ben Johnson's moves, and it's different. It's different than the status quo in Hallis Hall. It's just so stunning and frustrating that they had to align him with Ryan Poles. It seems like George and Kevin refused to admit that Ryan Poles is a complete failure. So it's this power dynamic that is in Hallis Hall right now, and their relationship and how they can do this together is what's going to take this team from being subpar to being great. And can they somehow find a way and a formula to become the Chiefs, to become the Bills, and can we take that next step? And I'm so excited to find out if it's going to happen. And I'm just really happy because this is something that we've never had before in a head coach coming in and doing these things.
You know
Just
what?
to piggyback on what you were saying, look how fast they built the offensive line. It was all Ben Johnson. Ryan Poles was getting hung up on for years about coming here. You know what I mean? We have to understand the amount of luck that Ryan Poles has been bestowed upon him. You were lucky that Lovie Smith, we got the first overall pick. You were lucky with Carolina. You were lucky that Ben Johnson is a season ticket holder to the Chicago Cubs and wanted to come to your city and coach your quarterback. You know what I mean? Ryan Poles has been extremely lucky, and then we're starting to see what's really starting to happen up in Hallis Hall. Now you got a real grown-up who knows what he needs to do, what he wants to complete, being around Dan Campbell all these years, and the GM that he got up there. Not Poles, but Ben Johnson is coming with that type of pedigree. Like, look, I know what I'm doing, and we're going to see real soon here in the next draft what's really going to happen between him and Ryan Poles. It's going to be quick. We're not going to have to wait and see, because if this was all a collaborative effort and Ryan Poles didn't get the guy from Boston College, and all we're going to see, the fan base is not going to give it that much grace anymore.
You know what, G Walk and Swank? Just think about this, and when you got time, just think about it. And the litmus test is clearly in the NFC. It is Philadelphia and it is Detroit, right? You would say that easily.
Yep.
And how you win football games and how you win football games consistently, how you build success for consistency. How you do that is dog depth. I'm creating.
Yes. Yes.
Dog, how deep can you go with dogs? You start thinking about itemizing this roster, and you start thinking about how many dog football players that we have.
Right.
The question you'll come up with is, do we have enough?
Do we have any? Who are the dogs on the team? You
Who are
said
blue
Nomad,
chip
you
guys?
said
Who's
you
blue
said
chip?
assholes. You said assholes. Like who are the guys who are the down and dirty guys who are going to go hit people as hard as they can? I mean, maybe Kevin Byard started to show it a little bit, but he's still it's so much great character, guys, and I appreciate that to a degree. But you need down dirty dogs who are going to be barking at people and getting after them. You got to hold them back. Like, stop, dude, you're going too crazy, you know?
Is Montez Sweat a dog? Is Gervon Dexter a dog?
No.
Do you see dogs?
No, none of them. I can't look at him and go, man, that guy's probably an asshole. And I love him that he's a Chicago Bear. There's no one. Like Max Crosby is 100% a psychopath and an asshole. You know what I mean? He's trying to destroy Caleb Williams. Jalen Carter, a psychopath and an asshole, documented, right? It's like the Bears need guys like that so they're able to actually have more toughness on the team.
Yeah, I'd say I put Tyreek in that category for sure.
Yeah, you can put Tyreek in there.
I put Grady there, healthy, 100% Grady.
Yes.
He's that kind of animal. I put KB there, Kevin Byers there. He doesn't show it in his attitude, but he will play it. He'll play the game like that. TJ. I think Luke Burton's got that temperament to him.
That's true. We just need to see it more.
Thinking of some guys on offense that I can throw in that category. I think Darnell Wright's got some pretty good nasty to him when he needs it.
Mm-hmm.
But but you start thinking about it and measuring it to the guys that have depth at dog. Right. We still don't have enough. We don't have near enough to compete and go hard with these teams, man. You got, they got a legion of guys that can come try to tear your head off in Detroit, dude.
Yeah,
whole region of them. And so that's how you win games consistently. Yes, they will break down at the end of the season, and that will come back to bite them. They play every game like it's their individual Super Bowl, every single play. And they won't be healthy enough to take it the distance this year. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They play. I hate to say this because I was a hardcore football player, but they play a little too hard. And it's going to cost them in the end.
I want to switch gears here real quick, but I agree 100% with you guys. I feel like there's too many nice guys on this team. We need some more of the. I feel like Kyler Gordon and Brisker are two more guys you might consider to be the dogs on this team. Some guys who bring it when they hit the field, But I agree 100%. You were watching Max Crosby in the game on Sunday, talking all kinds of smack to Caleb directly to his face on the field, not caring. Then obviously after the game they're hugging and stuff and shaking hands. It's just a competitive spirit of the guy. You love to see it. I want to see more of that on the Bears as well. So that's, again, like Aldo was talking about earlier, that shift in maybe the scouting philosophy, maybe bring in some different guys with some different eyes and feelings towards players. I think that could bring a shift that we might see going forward. But to kind of switch gears here, guys, I want to know what you guys' level of confidence after these last 4 games is. Now, obviously, after the first couple of games, it didn't look so good as far as how the Bears might finish this thing off. But now we've got some upward momentum, some good trajectory. How do you guys see the rest of the season going? Do you see them on pace to having a winning season, getting those 9 wins, maybe even competing for a playoff spot? Let's start with you, Claus.
Yes, I do. I think 9 or 10 is easy, not easy, but it's definitely possible. I think that they're what I'm nervous about is like the typical Bears game, but I think last week kind of said like, is this different? Is it different now? And you have to get through a full season of Ben Johnson to really figure out if it's different. But did anyone else watch the Bengals yesterday?
Yes.
Like if the Bears should beat the Bengals, right? And all of a sudden the Ravens feel mortal and dude, like you can't lose to Aaron Rodgers in the Steelers at home. So you start to like look at it, it's like, okay, you're going to lose probably Philadelphia. Detroit's going to be a tough one. I think they can split with Green Bay, who doesn't look that good. They just tied Dallas, right? Like a tie. I think that's a winnable game too. I think you beat Minnesota. So you start looking at it, you go, if they get Washington, you get Washington right away, and then you build off of that, you could rattle off a couple wins and you could look at that 9 and 10 range and really be in that playoff hunt. But I think that the litmus test really is like being a winning football team and Caleb Williams getting better every single week. And if that happens, we're in a really good spot as a franchise.
Go ahead, G. Walker.
I agree. I just think it's going to come down to, the guys just sticking together. Chemistry means a lot, man. And we're getting guys back healthy. We're getting Edwards back. We're getting Kyler back. We're getting a lot of guys healthy. So the defense is going to be better. If Tyreek Stevens is any type of indication of what this secondary could look like under Dennis Allen, it's scary hours, man. So we get a weapon back with Kyler coming back. We get our bruiser and our guy to put out snot bubbles and Edwards back. So I think we can get to that 9-win range. It's just going to come down to, can we win the winnable games? Can we upset one good team? It's going to come down to stuff like that. Like, can the run game and the offensive line block well enough and the tight ends do what they need to do well enough? Then we can start to see. I think we're going to trend up. I think the more we win with less, the better and more confident we'll be as a team going forward, because we're not all stacked up yet. So if we could come out here these next couple of weeks, like you said, we beat the Commanders, then we beat the Saints. That's what, 4-2 right there? You're 4-2. Right there. So it's just, can we control the clock? Can Caleb continue to not throw multiple interceptions? Can he look for Roman Doomsday when he needs him? Like, we have to start establishing an identity for what we are right now, and then we can come in week to week and we can get 9-10 wins. Absolutely.
Let's just go clockwise. Go ahead and rebuttal him, Swanky.
Yeah. There about 5 or 6 years ago, I think NFL defenses really trended towards, you don't need to be the 85 Bears to win.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're just average, but then you have, playmakers that can make quick plays, big turnovers. You've gotten that the last couple weeks now.
Yeah.
I just fear that the flaws overall with the penalties. I think the offensive line still hasn't found their rhythm, and the defense in the run game, the run defense. It just hasn't come together fondly enough for me to be completely confident. I think that this team is still more ill-advised. I don't even know if they're even as good as their 2-2 record. Not to be a home record here, but I honestly feel like this is more of a 1-3 football team right now. But that's okay, as Ben Johnson is still kind of learning on the fly, and he's really learning what he has. I think that for me, the focus needs to be on Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. They need to establish a tone and establish a foundation together. That's what this season is about. So as long as they do that, if they can get into shootouts, I'm hoping by the last 4 or 5 weeks that this offense is automatic. I just see it being a little rocky right now, and I think we're going to get the inconsistencies and the flaws to continue. That's ultimately going to prevent us winning the games that we really could be winning. But I think you want to see this offense. I think that's what's important this season, is seeing that offense really start to thrive late in the season.
I agree.
Oh, man.
Nomad, let's hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I got to start it off like this. So many times in DMs on Twitter or privately after we do, if I post a short or after a show, people will comment. And a lot of times privately, sometimes people will email. And I think people trust the analysis on the channel, man, on our channel. And they want me to declare. They want me to tell them, hey, how many games can the Bears win? And it's so hard for me, man. I get butterflies every time I have to answer because they want me to declare. And it's hard for me to declare. And so much of it is just like I was talking about earlier. Everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. It's about momentum. And in this case, it's about injury and health and momentum.
Yes.
You know, you got those two things going for you towards the end, and you're flowing. You're flowing. You got everything going, and everything that gets in front of you is almost, it's like it's a wood chipper. And so I would never sit here and tell the Bears community that the Bears have no chance. No chance at all. I know most people would say the Bears have no chance to really go deep in this season and go into the playoffs. People will tell you that. I can't ever declare that for you. I think everything is about making sure you're healthy enough going towards the end of the season, and it's about energy and flow. If they can hit that stride at the right time, I do think they have the pieces on the roster to do some things in the playoffs. So I can't say whether or not these guys are going to be a 9, 10, 11-win team, 8-win. I can't say. I can tell you from what I've seen is the arrows look up to me. They look up to me, and I just think they just keep stacking, you know, the little things and not hurting yourself and winning turnover ratios and shit like that. And I think you put yourself in a good spot to win some games towards the end and you prove everybody wrong about you.
Facts.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with you guys. I think the team is on a pretty good trajectory right now. I think and this Washington game is one that really I'm going to have my eyes on. They're going to have a little extra chip on their shoulder for this one. Tyreek Stevenson, especially after the game he had last year to finish it off with the Hail Mary play. So I really think they're going to be trending in the right direction for that too. The 8 to 9 wins, I think, is a good number. I saw somebody else that said that. I think that's a pretty decent number. I see a slate of games here coming up that's very, very winnable. Like you guys were talking about. Cincinnati looks terrible right now. Baltimore, they're all over the place. I don't know what's going on with them. Their defense doesn't look anywhere near what it has in the past. Madubuike is out for the season. Huge part of their D. The Giants are a beatable team for sure. You guys mentioned Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. They're pretty good. That one I'm not so sure about, but still I know I'm missing a game in here, but there's 5-6 winnable games in there. I would hope they'd pull out at least half of them, and get themselves in a good spot there. So I tend to agree with you on that.
And that's what was so crucial about the Raiders game. Can we come together and win a winnable game and not lose those? Those games are so important than you beating somebody by 17 points or 18 points. Can you establish the identity to win an ugly game?
Yes.
We have to establish, can we win ugly? Some games you're not going to get Caleb with 3 touchdowns and 288 yards and 56. Sometimes he's going to be 17 from 34 with just a clutch throw to Rome Odunze for a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, runs it in at the end. So that's where we have to establish that identity at, is to win tight, close, ugly games. And I think we got a few we can get those to.
G-Walk, you just triggered
the tight, close, ugly games. I want to dig into this a little bit more. We got another guest that's going to join us here. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Brendan Segrue is coming in from Bears Wire. We appreciate you joining us, Brendan. Thanks for being here.
What's going on, Brendan?
Yeah, of course. Good to see you guys. How's it going?
How you doing, man?
Good. It's great to have you. I want to dig into this next subject. We were talking about the record and whether we think the Bears could get to 8 and 9 wins. But we've also had some conversation earlier about winning these games that we wouldn't have won in the past, like they did against the Raiders on Sunday, coming back, fighting hard, and winning a game where adversity struck hard and they found a way to get it done.
Yes.
And so the question I want to ask you guys is, I think the common denominator here, most of you guys would probably agree with me, is the new head coach, Ben Johnson, instilling a new mindset into these guys. So my question is, which one of the improvements, or even not even just improvements, I want to expand this and broaden it a bit. What about him in general that he's brought to this team has impressed you the most, whether it be his scheme or his attitude or the coaching staff he's surrounded himself with, or whatever the case may be? Let's go ahead and start with you, Brendan.
That's a loaded question right off the bat. I would say I think in the NFL you can find ways to win even with poor schemes because guys sometimes talent wins out. Look, we saw that even last year at times under Shane Waldron. The offense looked good, but it was always sort of on a bridge of toothpicks where just anything the one little collapse, that thing's going down because there was no culture. There was no just firm belief or leadership at the top. And so, I mean, it's a buzzword, but I would say accountability from all levels. I love the way that he looks himself in the mirror and it feels like he means it too. I mean, guys, there's always coach talk there where a guy will get up there and says, I need to be better. But when Ben Johnson actually says it, I'm like, I believe this guy when he's talking about the running game yesterday and he's saying, I need to be better in terms of the plays I'm being called. I didn't get as prepared. I was late getting plays in. Like he's using examples. He's leading from the front like that. And that shows when he's able to go into other players and say, you need to do this better. You're not playing up to the standard like we saw in training camp. It actually means something instead of guys just sort of pointing fingers at one another. I guarantee you that wasn't the case last year. And I think there was even stuff coming out from other players that they felt like this was a game we would have lost because there was just no common belief in one another, especially from the top down. So the accountability factor is massive with him. And you could just hear it with the messaging and see it with the adjustments that he's making too. I mean, to pull and bench a tackle mid-game, move a undrafted, very unproven second-year tackle to the blind side and bring in a rookie tackle who has not seen very little playing time up to this point against Max Crosby, and taking those chances and showing I have the belief in these guys and they're backing it up. I just think that's huge, and it's really starting to permeate within the team now. You can see that belief from everywhere else. It's actually starting to come up, and that's why they win this game.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Brendan there, we're the authenticity of him is so true. You can see through it. And Brendan, you were talking about how it's not fake. It's not fake. Ben Johnson is who Ben Johnson is. He's not scared of being or needs to feel like he's something different. Flus always felt like he had to project this coach. He was trying to act like who he was. But Ben Johnson is who Ben Johnson is. And I think his attitude and his intensity, like during games, even with the Luther Burton flea flicker, like his reaction, there was no reaction. He's like, I got the next play to call. Like I'm worried about the next thing. I'm not worried about that right now. We'll celebrate after the game, after a win. But I'm not going to be excited in the sideline when something cool happens. You know, it's like we expect cool things to happen. We expect points to be put on the board. And I think that Ben Johnson's authenticity is going to continue to permeate and continue to push this team to a new high level.
You know,
what's the rebuttal up there? Go ahead, G. Walker.
You know what it is about Ben Johnson that I like so much about his personality is just that he's not going to be the person that BS's you. You know, he's not going to be the person that tells you that it's sunny outside. It's not. You can't tell him or tell a player that you can't put search SHIT on pancakes and tell me it's syrup. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get somebody else to come in here and do it. If you're not going to be the guy that's going to get it done, we're going with somebody else. And he said that, and he set the tone. His very first press conference, he said, Caleb Williams, I like you a lot, but it's going to take more than you to get this job done. That right there, to put the number one overall pick in his place in front of everybody lets me know that he'll give it to anybody. He'll give it to anybody. It could be Caleb, it could be DJ Moore, it could be Rome. So when you have that type of coach that's on your staff now, the sky's the limit for getting players to do exactly what you need them to do. So I love the fact that he can call out not only himself, but he can also put players where he need to be. And you can travel that week to week. He's not going to change. He's not going to fold. He's going to be the same Ben Johnson every week, whether we win or lose. And that's something that you want to see week in, week out. Not some guy that's playing to guys who got to get touches. Oh, I need my touches. I need my catches. I need this and I need that. We just looking week to week like we just, scheming up to just get guys and involved instead of just trying to win a game. I think Ben Johnson's coming out here every week just trying to win a game. That's all that matters, man.
Go ahead, Swanky.
I'm really impressed. I mean, you guys have really covered, the coach and his energy, his tenacity. I look at the play calling, and we watched him for 3 years in Detroit, and he's coming to Chicago. Is it make believe and magic, or is this stuff actually real? And in 4 games, this stuff is actually real. The flea flicker last week, the fake flea flicker, that was so cool to see. You're really seeing his creativity as a play caller, and his understanding in the flow of a game. I was so impressed with right before the half against Dallas, how he, how we went down the field schematically and then got the ball back in the second half in a 19-play drive. We just do not ever see that situational awareness by a coach. On Sunday against the Raiders, we get stuck. He's trying to pound the ball against the Raiders in the run game, and they stuff us up hard. And he has the awareness to go, I'm going to start throwing screens. I'm going to get out of the pocket because I can't play hard-nosed football right now against these guys. Let me wait a little later until they get tired towards the end of the game, and we can start doing that. But I get a sense of a coach that feels the game really well. I felt like Matt Nagy a lot of times just called plays and was very robotic. This coach makes me feel really refreshed in the sense of I have the feel of the game. I know the strengths of my players, and I'm going to be able to I'm going to be able to match the intensity of the game in front of me while having the players. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at them, and they're learning the system simultaneously. You can have 2 of those things together. That's a lot of synergy.
I agree.
Hey.
Nomad, let's have you finish off this segment here. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I got to give Swanky some digital dap with that one, man. I'm giving you dap, man, from a distance, because that was a very poignant way of looking at the thing, because I do believe that schematics have a lot to do with the difference that we're seeing out there today. Because I don't know if you guys can, if you start thinking about it right now, as I say these words, you'll start thinking about it and recall, like, have you seen this many wide open running receivers in the past few years since Ryan Poles has been here? That's schematics, guys. That's schematics. That's him scheming things open, route combinations, all that kind of stuff that plays into a game. And what Swanky was talking about, having a rhythm and a feel for the game and knowing when to call something. That is hyper important right there. Number one. Number 2 is from the player standpoint, I'm going to speak to that. Number 1, Ben Johnson doesn't play football. The players do. They have to believe. They have to within each other. I think that meeting that Jaquan Brisker and who was it, Grady Jarrett, they called that.
Grady Jarrett, Grady.
Something happened, something transpired in that situation. And again, coaches don't play football. All they can do, you can have a hot breath hollering coach that's getting on you, barking at you every day, every single day. That's not going to translate to better football play. At some point or another, the football players have to decide that, hey, dog, we got the horses, man. We got the horses to get in this race, and we can make plays. And when it comes down to it, can you make a game-changing play if we need it? And so you're starting to see a little bit of that belief seep into the culture that's been losing for several years here, and it's encouraging as hell. That's why I can't say what this team might do, what this thing with Ben Johnson might end up being, because it's a work in progress. Every single thing is a work in progress at this point. And so the green arrows are pointing up. I'm just trying to see if they can stack it, if they can make the right moves in this bye week, do what they need to do to amplify this momentum right here. And that's the most important thing in the world.
I agree. I think we've seen a lot of what we expected to see from Ben Johnson as far as the schematics. You just talked about it, Nomad, seeing guys open down the field pretty consistently, and you're seeing Caleb even improve in his reads and whatnot. We'll get to that in a little bit too. I do want to dig into that some with Caleb's improvements, but I want to ask one more question about Ben. And as far as we've talked about all the positives with him, but I want to know what you guys think as far as like the negatives that you've seen so far, if any. I'll start with this by saying that I watch a lot of, I don't know if you guys watch the quarterback breakdowns like I do, but I was watching the Tim Jenkins video today, and he was talking about how if he's got any kind of complaints about this offense is that he doesn't feel like they're getting the ball to DJ Moore enough. And I tend to agree with that. We all know what the guy is like with the ball in his hands. I want to see them with the struggle in the run game, use him more in the quick game as an extension of the run game. Get him the ball in his hands in space, let him work more. we know they like to use the screen game. So I just feel like we need to see him get involved in that more often, at least more so than he has been. So, Brendan, let's start with you. I want to know your thoughts on Ben Johnson, what you see him possibly making improvements, and if there's anything you don't like so far that you've seen.
No, he's perfect. Next question. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do want to build off what you said about DJ Moore, though, because I think they are trying quite a bit to get him involved in those short yardage situations with screen games, with flare routes out of the backfield, lining up in the backfield, giving him pitches. If anything, I don't think they're doing enough with him downfield, and it's almost like they're giving away their strategy a little bit by having him in that position, because I feel like we're seeing so many short yardage passes that you kind of expect that now, and you don't consider him too much of a threat when he's actually running a route downfield. That limits you, in my opinion. So I'd like to see a little bit more there. Look, I'm not in the locker room. I don't understand. I don't know the conversation, or I don't understand the conversations that are happening, but I just don't know why Roschon Johnson has not gotten a single carry. Something must be wrong. Something is going on there where there is just no trust that he can actually be an RB2 or even an RB3, because the RB3 is DJ Moore or Luther Burden or something. He was the goal line back last year, and he was decent at it. His conversion rate for first downs and touchdowns was far and away better than his rookie year. And with the struggles in the running game, I'm surprised that we haven't seen that happen through 4 weeks. I think Kyle Monungai's shown a little bit. I think DeAndre Swift, I do also agree with what Ben said, that he's not the full problem why the run game has not gotten off to a good start. But he's also not doing himself any favors with his limitations, with his vision. So I would say some of the usage a little bit. And then quickly, some clock management stuff has popped up here and there. I was surprised that either Ben didn't know that the 2-minute warning was coming in the first half, or he just wasn't prepared to get a play in. He just let the clock run all the way down. I thought that was surprising. You can go back to week one. He was upset about that. Yeah. So he seems to figure out his mistakes after it. And so far, I don't think we're seeing too many repeat mistakes, which is good. But there have been a couple clock management instances. But that's also kind of nitpicking, because what coach doesn't? We can literally look at every single NFL game and say, that was messed up. That was messed up. Look at the Green Bay game with Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur almost blowing that potential loss that ended up turning into a tie. But yeah, I would say those are a few of my complaints so far.
I would say I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of identity on offense. I don't really know. We know that Rome's getting open. We know the receivers are getting open, but the running game's not going at all. And I feel the creativity with the gadget plays is really fun, but one has worked so far. And I know that like the stumble bum, right? We all figured out that was a stumble bum happened in the middle of that game, and it was a weird spot for that. Instead of trying to establish a run, maybe getting Roschon a carry or just seeing what Kyle Monungai can do. And then he went ahead, and the fake flea flicker run was cool because it makes people think about it, but it feels, one of the things from Detroit fans they kept saying was like, he's going to put these gadget plays in to make you think that he's smarter than everyone else. And that it's coming up a lot. And so I hope that when they get back from the bye, they really start to establish what they want to be known as a team and not just gadget plays. Those gadget plays are fun for highlights, and obviously the Luther Burton one, I was in stadium. It's the loudest I've ever heard Soldier Field for that touchdown. But like it's the NFC North. You're going to need to have some bread and butter plays. You're going to need to be able to run the ball when it matters the most, and you have to have the identity of the team really be shown. And it can't always be when things get rough, we're going to throw a gadget play in and hope that this works.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's the run game, because I've been watching we all been watching 4 games, and it seems like the way he's using Kyle Monungai and DeAndre Swift is backwards. Like, we all know that Kyle Monungai is the between the tackles runner. Then DeAndre Swift is more of a home run runner. So it seems like if you get to pounding that defensive line early on, then you can use DeAndre Swift at the end of the game to get some of those home run plays off. That is one thing that I've noticed that I would like to see reverse. I don't want to see DeAndre Swift struggle up to the 3.5 quarters when you got a fresh Kyle Monungai who can pretty much beat up a team for the first 3.5 quarters, then use DeAndre at the end of the game to go break off a couple of long runs. And also, as far as DJ Moore in the pass game, I don't know if that's Ben Johnson. I think this is more of Caleb Williams and a Roman Doomsday 1-2 punch now, because it's looking very similar to what it looked like when Justin Fields had DJ Moore as his one. Now we're starting to see that Roman Doomsday turn into that one wide receiver one. So, and him and Caleb don't necessarily have the best chemistry since they've been here. I don't know if we need to get an all 22 sideline for the past couple of years of Caleb and DJ Moore looking at an iPad together, but I know we see them on the sideline hugging each other now. But I don't know how much that plays until what's really going on out there, because he's looking for the guy he's trusted the most, and that looks like that's Roman Doomsday to me.
There's one single guy on this team that will beat a one-on-one consistently, and there's this. You start looking at Joe Burrow and Chase and Jamar Chase, and there's a built-in mechanism within them. They know within them. It's just a look between them.
Right.
And they know, hey, you see this? This is one-on-one. This is man-to-man coverage.
This me, right?
7 is going to the house. DJ Moore is the one guy on this team that can beat one-on-one consistently on this team. Romo Doomsday is good. He's getting better and better by the game. And I'm giving him tons of credit when I say that. He's getting better all the time. But DJ Moore is a game changer. And I feel like they're playing a little bit of favorites right now. I don't know if it's something between DJ and Caleb. Is it something in the play calling? At the end of the day, Caleb has to be the one that throws the ball.
Exactly.
Them not using DJ in the way that they should. You see him one-on-one. There's no reads. There are no progressions. You throw the ball to DJ Moore and let him make a play. And so I would just say, moving forward, I don't see a world where they don't take advantage of that. I don't see a world where they don't. As far as the running game goes, the offensive line, I'm telling you guys right now, man, I would just say pass pro has been better than average overall. I'm talking about for 4 games. It's been better than average overall. Run blocking, that's a whole other universe, bro. It's a whole other universe. They are terrible at run blocking, and it's hit and miss. From, let's just say, they might string together 2, maybe 3 good run blocking plays, and then it's downhill for about 6 more plays. Mm-hmm. And again, you like Ben Johnson said, it's not right to just hand that responsibility over to DeAndre Swift and say he's not a good running back. No, he's a great running back. He just happens to be struggling under the circumstances. I've been saying this for a while. I don't think, and we give Ben Johnson a lot of credit. I give it to him too. I think he's going to be a great coach. But I do think if we give him credit for the draft, you have to give him a little angst for not drafting a running back a little bit early. Not taking anything away from Kyle Monangai, but they missed a lot of opportunities in the draft to get a better running back. Not only that, there's a couple of guys in free agency before all that started to change teams. You had opportunities. I felt like the running back room was incomplete. So if I had to ding these guys and Ben Johnson or the whole staff, it would be that.
Nomad, you let it in perfectly to what I was going to say. And Brendan, you kind of touched on it earlier. My fear is that Ben Johnson has kind of mismanaged the personnel group in his running back room. Mm-hmm. I see DeAndre Swift as a guy that is a 10 to 12 carry guy. As he's got the finesse, but I don't see him as a guy that is a running back with force that's going to be able to take on a 15 to 20 game load. When they drafted Loveland and Burden, it told me that, hey, we're not going to run the ball like Ben Johnson did in Detroit. Jared Goff needs the run game. He needed it in LA with Todd Gurley. He needs it with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. He's great in the play action. When they drafted, a tight end and receiver, it told me, I think he wants Caleb to be more of a high volume passer, and it's going to be lesser of a run game. He has not shied away from the run game, and I think he's forcing DeAndre Swift into the physical Jahmyr Gibbs role of being a 15 to 20 carry back. But who is going to be that next guy? Where's my George Mason? Is it Roshan Johnson? Do you believe that much in Kyle Monangai as a 7th round pick to take on that role? I feel like he's close. But Nomad, you touched on it perfectly. And what I was going to say, you had 3 second-round picks. You had a third-round pick. There's free agents to be had. Nick Chubb. I don't know if George Mason was a free agent or if they acquired him via trade. But you need that. You have your finesse back, but you need your power back to offset things. Because I think Ben Johnson does want to run the ball, and he does want to. That is what he wants to establish his identity on consistently. And my fear is that he's mismanaged that part of the team and with his running backs. So, there's these guys come and go so often. You can get a running back off the street, and I'm kind of waiting. Is Roschon Johnson going to step on and be that physical, that tough back we need? Is it going to be Monangai? And for a guy that wants to run the ball, like if you want to throw the ball all around the field, then I get it. But I think you want to, like, this is what you've done, and you've been a top 5 coordinator for the last 3 years with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to bring that here, I think you want to bring that here. We're kind of missing that hole, and I fear that he's mismanaged that in year 1.
I will say quickly, just to talk about that quickly, it seemed like they were targeting a few backs in the draft. Travion Henderson was the guy that they wanted in the second round. I know that came out after the fact. It seems like there were other guys in the middle rounds that they were targeting, and they just got sniped a couple times. There was interest in Ashton Genty. I think really they got super unlucky, and they weren't going to force anything. So I do think, Swanky, you're right in the fact that I think they did mismanage it a little bit, and they probably figured we have enough horses in this room to get the job done. But at the same time, they were trying to get guys. They were just super unlucky and weren't going to sell the farm to try and get somebody like Henderson or Scadaboo or Genty.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, if Genty falls to 10, do we take him?
I think so.
100%.
I think they will.
At 10, I think so.
Interesting. It's so interesting. Yeah.
He just wasn't going to be close, though. Like once they got picked up. Yeah, I would have loved to have Genty. I think like pre-draft, it wouldn't be Genty. I was still on left tackle, man. I was obsessed with Will Campbell. I thought like for him to go 4, I thought he was going to fall the way, but they have to figure out the running back room somehow. And I know we're going to lead into a segment for trades here in a minute, but there has to be answers to get the ball running more efficiently so that they can open up the quick game. They can open up the passing game a lot more because I believe what Ben wants to really do and see out of his offense, he's just not able to do it with the personnel that's in the running back room.
Right.
You know what, Claus? I got to say this, man. To your point about the running game and left tackle, one of the things that keeps showing up to me in the All-22, Braxton Jones isn't the same dominant force in the run game that he's been since he's been here. Braxton Jones, say what you want about him, he is a beast in wide zone. And when you're running the ball to his side, you can almost guarantee he will have his guy sealed. He's not the same guy for whatever reason. Maybe this injury stuff is worse than we think, but Bryson is not getting out there and leading the way like he used to. And that's a big, huge difference in the way we can perform on that side of the ball. I can't tell you how many times I saw Swift get smacked in the face because Bryson couldn't reach his guy fast enough. That's not Bryson Jones. So I do think I'm more like Claus. I think there was some good tackles to get at that point, but if they would have got a running back, I guess I'm not mad because they had several draft picks early, and you can do stuff like that when you got multiple draft picks early. You can mess around a little bit. If they would, I wouldn't have blown my lid if they'd have got a running back. If Genty was it, then I would have been fine with it. But getting that left tackle, I think, was huge. Getting a running back early enough was huge. Just because you didn't get Travion Henderson shouldn't have been like, oh, poo-poo us. We didn't get our running back. There were still several good football players. I can name them, but we ain't got all that kind of time. But I think they made some mistakes there.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a good transition for us here. Speaking of the trenches and the left tackle play, I want to get into the running game, both on the offensive side and the defensive side here. What do you guys think? What are your concerns as far as, obviously the defensive run game has just been, they've been torn apart in just about all 4 games so far now. So, Ashton Genty did basically nothing up to this game. He was averaging about 3.1 yards a carry. He had basically no no yardage before contact, was all after contact, and he just, ran all over the Bears. So that's one concern there. And as far as the offensive run game, obviously we haven't really gotten that going the way we'd like to either. So what are your concerns there, guys, as far as, are there liabilities in the trenches on either side? Who are the most concerns to you? And then obviously we'll get into the trade situation later, but who are some guys right now on the team that you're seeing as either problems, or maybe some guys who even are part of the solution going forward? Let's start with you, Brendan.
Sure. So I'll stick to the defensive side, because with the offensive side, I think there are ways to generate a running game, and I think Ben Johnson's smart enough to do so, and we've seen hints of that already happening with whether it's trick plays, screen plays, end arounds, what have you. And I do have belief that at some point he's going to figure out how to get an average running game going, whether that's with Monangai or getting Swift going. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I have the belief that he has the tools to succeed. Defensively, this is a defensive line that should be thriving against the run. Grady Jarrett's good against the run. Andrew Billings is a monster. Javon Dexter has improved there, I think. Dio Dangbo Dio and Montez Sweat are both massive defensive ends that are adept at playing the run and not only the pass. If anything, I think we knew that sacks would probably be harder to come by, even with the money put into that defensive line. But I believed that the run defense at least was going to be much, much better and kind of on par with what we saw a couple years ago. And so the fact that you allowed 240 rushing yards and still won a game is a miracle. But even though Grady Jarrett was out, I still thought you had the personnel to get the job done. But unfortunately, it starts up front with the tackling is a problem. I think Noah Sewell, after he really started out hot, he had some very big missed tackles on Sunday. TJ Edwards being out has been a problem when it comes to run defense. So I need to see more from the defensive line. We obviously need to get the secondary and the linebackers healthy, because Kyler Gordon's really good in the run game as well. So a few of those things should get better, but I think just considering the defensive line for the most part is healthy, and that's still been a problem with getting pushed around up front. I wonder how much that's going to hinder them coming in after the bye, because Washington's shown the ability, even with a running back by committee, that they can get the job done on the ground.
Go ahead, G. Walker.
I'm with Brendan, man. I'm just gonna say this: the amount of money we spent on this defensive line is a lot, and we're not seeing any type of production from it at all. You know what I mean? Javon Dexter, he came in with a lot of hype. Grady Jarrett even talked about him, and I'm gonna support him. He's gonna take off this year, and then we're just not seeing it. It's really nothing else to talk about. I can't talk about something that I've been seeing for 4 weeks that's been absolutely atrocious. The drafting process is not as good as we thought it was. The free agent acquisitions are not as good as we thought it was as far as the run defense. So you are what you put on the TV screen. You are what you put in the loss column. It is what it is. And I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon. Not at all. This is probably the worst skill group position that we have on this team right now is the front line. And the fact that we still got guys getting interceptions with Kevin Byard and Tyreek Stevenson every week, it's been an outlier. But the defensive line going forward, this is not good. This is what's going to probably hold us back from getting beyond 7 wins, because we can't stop the run. We're going to play against quarterbacks that are pretty good too. So it's a problem. I don't see it being fixed no time soon.
They just have to find a way to manufacture some sort of pressure a little bit, right? There's no pressure on him, but the defensive backs are able to get some turnovers there, but there's nothing going from the defensive line at all. And it sucks to see Grady Jarrett hurt already. Been nice to see if he could get going a little bit with some more time with the group and just being in there with his high level of energy and his engine and the dog in him. But the defensive ends are non-existent. Montez Sweat, I was on the field before the Dallas game. Montez Sweat is a monstrous human being. He is jacked out of his mind. He is 6'8", and he's invisible on the field, which is a wild place to be in, considering he's a $100 million player. That part of it is really hard to grasp. And Dio came out hot, but he kind of faded the last 2 games where he's been really quiet, right? In the beginning, it felt like he was going to find a way. You hope that TJ Edwards is going to be able to give them, with him getting healthy, hopefully, and Kyler Gordon come back at nickel. Those two are going to be able to give them the push that they need to stop a run game a little bit. But when it comes to Ashton Genty, in that it felt like it was going to be his breakout game, and they let him go back to the Michael Myers stance, dude. They were making him go hands on his knees because they had to do, and they let him stand back up, and dude, that's game over, man. That's a different type of cat standing back there like Michael Myers. So it sucks that it happened, but hopefully they learn from it. And I thought the bye week was too early. And now in the season, it feels like it's the perfect time because they need to regroup and reset and get guys healthy. So hopefully during this time, they're able to actually figure out what they need to do differently on the defensive side of the ball to stop that running game.
Swanky, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a defense that's been heavily invested into. This isn't, a new GM.
Mm-hmm.
You're throwing Montez Sweat a lot of money, and I have not seen the production from him. I saw the production when he was trying to get his money. Now you're not necessarily seeing that same production, and it's much needed. Grady Jarrett, the savvy veteran coming in, you want to see more from him. Gervon Dexter has made a couple plays, but guys, I think this is just something that you're going to have to live with. As Bears fans, we get really uncomfortable when we see our defense play bad. It's not something that we're typically used to. It reminds me a lot of when the Bears hired Mark Trestman and Ted Phillips and George McCaskey. They really went all in on Jay Cutler, and they were really making that transition to going from a defensive franchise, a defensive-led franchise with Lovie Smith, to an offensive-led franchise with Mark Trestman. Unfortunately, they bet on the wrong horse in Jay Cutler to lead them in doing that. But I think this is something that you're just going to have to get used to the point where you're going to probably be winning a lot more games like you have the last 2 weeks, where you're going to be in more. The last 2 weeks weren't shootout situations, but you're going to try to win games 31-17 and let up 100 rushing yards. You're going to win games where your defense is going to let up a lot of obviously if you can't stop the run, you're in a world of hurt. But I think it's something that we're just going to have to get used to. And if this defense, if the run defense, if it can just be average, I think that's something that you have to get used to as a Bears fan. Because guys, Dennis Allen, I don't see it getting maybe much worse. I don't see us, becoming elite either. I think you just have to get used to it.
Yeah.
Nomad, finish us off here with this run defense and rush offense.
I'm glad you guys went to, and I'm going to definitely focus on, I think we covered rush offense pretty well. Rush defense, let me tell you guys something. This is not complicated. There's too many times where there's not enough violence. There's not enough winning at the line of scrimmage. There's not enough pushback at the line of scrimmage. It's like I'm watching guys, and I don't know whether I'm looking at a guy that's not in shape or just doesn't have the conditioning. Some play in and play out, I'm not sure exactly what the issue is, but too many times, and the person that comes to my mind is Gervon Dexter at times, because I see flashes of explosive football play. It's there. The other times it's just like, and none of us know what it feels like to have 650 pounds worth of man leaning on you in a combo or a duo block, pushing you back, and you have to do that a couple times. Nobody knows what that feels like to try to resist that and then get up to the line of scrimmage, keep your breath, and get in there and try to make another play. That's something that average people don't know. I don't know I'm a DB. I don't know what that freaking feels like, but it's a curious thing to look at on tape because it's hard to know whether it's conditioning or whether it's you don't have enough fight. And so why I said violence is there's too many people that get stuck on blocks. There are too many people not shedding blocks and making impact plays. You got somebody on you one-on-one. I'm not saying that you have to win that one-on-one rep every single time, but I'll be damned if there's a back coming through your hole and you can't get off that block. You better be violent enough to keep his damn hands off you. And so that I don't see enough fight in the front. And so I would just say this. I do think if everybody looks at that film, and this comes down to you can kick the coaches out of the room. Man, get out of here with your clicker. We can do this ourselves. Gervon, Dio, whoever it is, dog, you got to win your one-on-ones and you got to get in the backfield every single time you get a one-on-one. If there's a guy on you, you got to shed that block violently. And if he's grabbing you, you got to make sure the ref knows that he's grabbing you. There's a lot of holding going on in these circumstances too that aren't getting called. We getting tugged on a lot, but that's offensive line and defensive line play. There's a lot of holding going on in every single play. But what I'm saying is we lack the violence to shed blocks and be dominant in the front. It's a mindset. It's a true mindset. You either whoop or you get your ass whooped. Period. That's just
either you can do it or you can't. And it's way too many people on the offensive line that seem like they can't do it. And these guys are not necessarily rookies. And that's the thing. Like, these guys aren't – Montez is not a rookie. You know, Dayo, these guys have been around a while. Like, how much proof do you need to see that this is just not going to work? It just sucks.
You know, it's funny you guys say that. And actually, Brandon, your shirt kind of is reminded me of it too. How it says less cute, more nasty. You know, look, Greg talks about this all the time. And I was mentioning Greg earlier on the show. Greg Gabriel worked for the Bears as a scouting director for 9 years. You know, he has the show here in the Barroom. He talks all the time about defensive linemen. They got to have a little bit. They got to be a little dirty. They got to have some mean to them, some nastiness to them. They can't just be guys who are real nice on the football field. They got to have some, you know, a little bit of like, I hate you to them. You know what I mean? Some come after you. Look at Max Crosby last week. We were just talking about that guy who was literally on the field talking smack to Caleb every time he made a play directly to his face. You got to have some of that from your defensive linemen. So I 100% agree with you guys on all of that.
Hey Jeff, does it look more to you like we're in attack mode along the defensive front or getting attack mode?
They're reactionary to me on the defensive line, right. And that's a huge problem. You got to get after it, and that's just me personally watching. That's what I'm seeing. But I agree with you, Nomad. Yeah, I think they're too reactionary.
And that's what comes down to drafting. It comes down to drafting. That's what we were talking about, the scouting department and everything. Like, how we know this, and we're not even on the staff of the team, and we're all saying it need to be a little bit more nasty people on the defense. You don't draft these guys. That's an indictment on the GM and the scouting department. Like, it really is. It's not making any sense.
They do have a guy who is absolutely a shitster in Shamar Turner, who will clean up any mess, and he'll bark at people, he'll start fights. Like, you got that dog. He's got that dog in him in that standpoint. The problem is he kind of sucks everywhere else. He's not good at the point of attack. And so he's a finisher. So it's like you got a guy, and I think you have some of that violent mentality, but I do agree that you're just not seeing enough of it. And especially with a guy like Turner, you want to see him develop. I hope he does, but I just wasn't impressed with him coming out of college because he just wasn't good off the point of attack. He wasn't winning battles off the bat. He finishes clean very well. Like, he's a guy, if he gets a chance, you know, as a play develops, he'll come in there, he'll play through the whistle. But so, you know, maybe channel that a little bit. Look at Shamar to get that dog in the rest of the line, because I totally agree with what you're saying. It's definitely more reactionary than being on the attack. Yeah, I 100% agree. We need better get off all across the line. I think that's no doubt from many of you guys. But let's move on here. I want to get like some trade proposals from you guys. We were talking about this earlier a little bit. What do you guys think? We obviously talked about some of the deficiencies on the team. We might need another running back. We obviously have some issues on the defensive line. We need some more pass rush. We need some help stop and run. The offensive line potentially could use some help there. Maybe a left tackle if it makes sense. So what do you guys think as far as trade proposals? What direction would you go? What would you be willing to give up? Let's start with you, Claus. You're right here in the middle.
I'd give up DJ Moore, to be honest. That's who I would. That's who I would trade off. I think that they have young talent at the wide receiver position that they can go forward with, and there isn't a reason to keep him around, especially if they don't know what they can do with him. And what they could go get is they could see, like, who's going to be selling. The New York Jets, right? They're probably going to be selling. They have a pretty good young running back, Breece Hall. I would take him. Absolutely. I would take one of the nasty dogs on defensive line from the New York Giants. They could take DJ Moore. And then Miami. I don't know if Miami would be trading for a guy like that, but Tyreek Hill just got hurt. I think that DJ Moore would fit in fine down there in Miami, and then they could go and get Achane. So, like, there's a couple young running backs, but, like, Right now we're talking about it. And they don't know how to they're not using DJ Moore right, and you can keep him around, and that's fine. But like, if there's a youth move that's about to happen in Chicago, DJ Moore doesn't feel like he's part of that picture, in my opinion, the last couple of years. And I think he's got to be a guy that they shop around and they try to find defensive lineman or running back for that position if they're going to make a playoff push here in the long run.
What about you, Brendan? What do you think?
I understand the DJ Moore conversation, just not now. I think at 2-2 with a young team, at least a young offense and a new coach, I'm not looking to trade away weapons. Let's save that for the offseason. Let's save that for when things are a little bit more clear. Right now, I think you need all the talented players that you can get in order to try and still make a playoff push, because I mean, at 2-2, like that's still very much a possibility. So I'm not looking to trade DJ Moore right now, especially when I don't think his value is terribly high at this moment. Look, the Breece Hall trade, I think that makes sense in some aspects. However, with Braylon Allen probably being out several weeks, I don't think the Jets are going to want to give up on that. I mean, unless somebody blows them away and maybe there's a desperate team, I just don't see the Bears being that. Maybe somebody like Raheem Mostert. I mean, the Raiders now are 1-3. Ashton Genty is absolutely taking that. Oh, he's already had the job, but now he's really emerging. Raheem Mostert still looked good. He's played in every single offense imaginable at this point, it feels like, with Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, and then Mike McDaniel going over to Pete Carroll now. So he's seen a little bit of everything. I think he'd be a pretty good plug and play running back, bring that veteran presence and give them at least a stable option. He's not going to be like the Raheem Mostert of 2022 or 2023 and rack up a ton of touchdowns, but I bet you can get him for cheap, and you just saw him, and it would still be something like, it's not the home run hit, but it's definitely going to be like a single or a double to help the running back room. So I'd have to do a little bit more research on who some of like the D tackles could be. I'm not sure if they're going to trade for an offensive lineman. I think they feel comfortable enough with the guys that they have with Benedette and Trapillo and Wright. They're just trying to figure out how to like you move the dominoes around and figure out the best combination. So I think a lesser running back is a potential target.
Swanky, what do you think?
I am looking at 5-time Pro Bowler Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where I would look, and I would be so intrigued to know what Ben and the coaches at Hallis Hall think of him.
Dennis Allen's got
what does
I'm with
Dennis
him.
Allen think?
Absolutely, you're looking at a 5-time Pro Bowler. I was just looking at it now. 8 seasons with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. That would be a really, really interesting one to me. And the question that's presented to Ben, are you going to give up a 3rd or 4th round pick for him? I think you could get, I don't think it would be a 5th. I think it would have to be a 3rd or 4th. A 3rd's a little steep. Do you want to give, a draft pick for, a guy who is 30 years old, who has tons of experience? Or is that a pick that you want to eventually use on a running back that's going to be 21, 22 years old? So that's the big question. He does bring a lot of experience, and I think it's much needed for what Ben wants to do. I think a room with DeAndre Swift and Alvin Kamara, that would be really interesting. Really, for me, it depends on what they would actually have to give up. I was thinking about that earlier today. I don't think I would do it for a 3rd. A 4th I would really consider, and I'd love to get him for a 5th. I think they'll want it just a little bit more for that. But if it's a 4th round pick, you guys, we traded our 4th round pick last year for Joe Thuney. If Ben Johnson, if he really feels like, hey, let's take on this season and let's push for the playoffs, Alvin Kamara for a 4th round pick, or maybe a 4th and a 6th, that would be where I would go if he wants a little bit more in that room.
G. Walker, what do you think? I think you were getting ready to rebuttal me anyways.
No, I agree with everybody. Claus pretty much took my take, man. He smoked that. Man. DJ Moore is look somebody I would really look to trade. I think the wide receiver room is loaded with the kids, and Rome. It's some stuff out there, and I just think he's the one that he's been here a long time. I think he deserves to be on a team that's probably like a playoff team. He's been in a losing situation his whole career, so giving him an opportunity to probably go to a playoff team, or at least where he can get the ball, I think that'd be good for him. The running backs, Alvin Kamara looks nice for a fourth, and Breece Hall. I'm a whatever works type of guy. Like if it's addition by subtraction or whatever the case may be, let's just do it. Let's do it. If we're better off without DJ Moore, let's get a trade for him. Let's get him out of here. So I'm just whatever works, man. But DJ Moore, maybe Cole Kmet too. Like I don't know how many people looking at Cole Kmet. He's been here for a while. I'm tired of seeing him line up and he gets false stars and even at home. Like I'm sick of it. So DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. Let's see if we can get some running backs for him, put them in the package, however we want to do it. But I really like the DJ Moore to get a new start somewhere else, because I don't think it's going to work out here with Rome being the number one. I don't think DJ is going to buy into of a we type of thing to me. He's just used to what he's used to. I just think he just needs to be somewhere else, because this thing is moving right along.
And I just want to interject real quick there. I'm with you, actually, Brennan. I'm not for trading him right now. My $26 million receiver, I just don't think it's smart to do that. I think, with a guy like Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, you've got Rome, Zacchaeus, DJ Moore. Let's throw it all on a wall and see what sticks. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense.
Yeah.
And Ben's got a plethora of weapons to inject into his offense. So he's certainly loving the level of talent that he has. Just think 4 years ago, who was our number one receiver? Was it Mooney 3 years ago? Just how much that room grown. Oh man,
N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry. Oh my God.
Now we're talking about we can trade DJ Moore away. So it's the NFL stands for not for long. So it's a great job that they've done, and that tip your hat to Ryan Poles there. Because that DJ Moore was involved in that trade for Carolina. So I'm not for it now. Let's just throw all of our weapons at the wall. Let's see what sticks and what Ben Johnson really likes and doesn't like, and potentially do it in the offseason.
All right. I guess it's my turn, right?
It is.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. Shout out to everybody in the chat. There's some interesting, very good comments in the chat, man. The chat is tearing it up over there. Number one. Number two is, how long do we have before the trade deadline? What we got? About a month or so, somewhere in that neighborhood, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. Yeah. So the question to be asked is: are we buyers or are we sellers at the trade deadline? I mean, it's fun to imagine what we would or wouldn't do given any kind of situation. Let's just say we hypothetically, I'm going to lean towards the optimistic side. Let's just say we run off 3 to 4 wins before we go to the trade deadline. So in that case, we're buyers, right? So if we get 3 out of 4 wins, we're probably buyers at the trade deadline, because we run into some pretty stiff competition along that way before the trade deadline, right? So if we're buyers, this is going to probably sound, I'm going to jump ahead of you guys, that people are going to say, no, he just signed an extension. I think Max Crosby, I don't think the Raiders are going anywhere. I think Max Crosby is still on the table.
How much?
He's just signed an extension.
No. How much would you give up for him
in a trade? That's I'm never good with that kind of stuff. I'm willing
at least two first, right?
At least 2 first.
Take it. Done.
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 I'm just saying.
How old is he?
He just signed an extension, and what that means in terms of accountants that do this kind of stuff, that's an easier trade to make, because of the simple facts there are already terms and conditions to his contract. That's an easier contract to accrue. And so I think that's on the table. If we get 3 to 4 wins before the bye, we're in that conversation. Just telling you.
Crosby's 28.
We also have to consider there's a lot of money tied up into the defensive line right now. They can't just get off of those contracts at this moment either. So as much as everyone, including myself, would love to have Max Crosby, and you would entertain, a trade for him, even with a high draft or a high cost coming back, I just think that that's a situation where it'd be very, very difficult to make that work. Does anybody want to add anything to that before we move on to the next?
You might have to give up a player, Jeff. Also, you might have to give up a high-ranking player and maybe a mid-round draft pick to get that.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, is Ben Johnson going to be comfortable with 2 first-round picks in the next 2 seasons.
Exactly.
Not having that to establish what he is. So it's that decision is going to filter through him. And I don't think it's going to happen. And I just don't think we're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm a meatball fan, so I'm going to keep going for just those meathead takes. But I just think that like a game wrecker like that would be awesome for the Bears because he single-handedly dominated the Bears for 3 quarters until they shut him down a little bit in the end there. So obviously that's a little bit different in the reality of football, but in my dream, in my Madden mind, I want Max Crosby on the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we were talking about, you guys were talking about DJ earlier. I hate that conversation. That's why I'm quiet on it, because that irritates me, because I don't think you give away great players like that unless you absolutely have to. And if in exchange for, say, a Max Crosby, they are wide receiver deficient a little bit in Vegas right now. Under the circumstances, I can see a move like that could include a DJ Moore and a first rounder and some mid-round guy or some later round draft pick or something. I just wouldn't. If we win 3 or 4 games from here between now and then, I think everything is on the table. I'm just going to say that.
I agree.
Guys, I got to tell you, I love the conversation. We've covered a lot of bases, and there's still tons of more bases to cover. But what I like is, we started positive, talking about that Raider win and what was important in that victory. And now we've been digging in for the last hour plus. We've been digging into some of the things we'd like to see happen with these Chicago Bears. But I do want to end the show with some optimism and talk a little bit about what has gone well, particularly from a playing standpoint, big plays, because Ben Johnson came in and he made it clear that he's a big play guy. He doesn't want to do the tush push because that only gets you a yard. Yeah, it gets you a touchdown, but that only gets you a yard. He wants to score from 40 yards out. And what we have seen out of the defense is that they are capable of making big plays. And this is without a pass rush that we wouldn't even consider being top 10. So I put together a little video about the big plays that this team has done so far. And then on the other end, let's kind of share some of the big plays and some of the aspirational things that we have in mind for the Bears, things that we'd like to see them do offensively and defensively, which of course, everything is on the table, particularly with injured players coming back. Here's the video, and we'll talk about it on the other end.
Everybody's talking about the monsters of the Midway.
Let's lock it in, fellas. Let's go. We don't do 1, 2, 3.
The Bears D, is starting mayhem now. They're monsters of the big play.
Watch out. Picked off. Touchdown. Luther Burden picks. Inspired. He caught it. First down, Chicago. And they don't get it. Football that comes in. Intercepted again by Tremaine Edmonds. Touchdown, Atunze. Got commit. Touchdown, Chicago. The Bears take over. Tyreek Stevenson in for the Chicago touchdown. The kick is blocked. Unbelievable.
Everybody's talking about the monsters of the Midway. The Bears D is starting mayhem now. They're monsters of the big play. We are the bearer of Bears News, the Barroom Network.
That is what I am hoping this team's identity is going to be for the rest of the season and into the future. Big plays on offense, big plays on defense, big plays on special teams. I want to go to downtown and I want to see that bear coming at me and me running for my life. That's the team that I want. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Thinking again, aspirationally, what do you like about this team? What can we build on? And are there big plays from the season that you want to fair share. G. Walker, you've been shaking your head during the middle of the video. I'm looking at you. You're going, yeah, this is how. So take it away, brother.
I just want to see more plays downfield, man. I think Caleb Williams has the arm talent to do it. I think Roman Dunze, he's that number one wide receiver. He's 6'3", 200+ pounds, giant catch radius, hard to bring down, physical. We could play bully ball with him. But he's getting to the point to where Caleb can make those throws down the middle of the field to where you're going to have to tackle Rome. You're going to have to bring him down. So I just want to see more smash mouth football from Roman Dunze and Caleb Williams when we need those guys to be on money and be on target like they've been. And then on defense, whoever steps up, man. I'm here for it. Whether it's Tyreek Stevenson getting an interception and pretty much knocking the air out of his lungs and you got to go to the sideline and get the oxygen mask, whether it's Kevin Byard getting 2 interceptions. I don't care, man. As long as guys are making plays, because we don't have a lot of what we need on the defensive end of the ball. We just don't for our pass rush. So I'm grateful for anything that we can get. If it's a pick six or a block field goal like Josh Blackwell did to catapult us to that win, man, I'm here for it, man, because we need to learn how to win ugly because we don't have nothing pretty on the defensive side of the ball from a pass rush to can make things easy for us. But this is going to be a very entertaining football team. So I like that type of football. I don't need blowouts all the time, but I do need you guys just to win. So give me Roman Dunze being physical and Caleb throwing it to him and give me interception, baby. I'm here for it.
I love it. Nomad, what you got for me?
What I got for you is hell of a job on that video, dog.
Thank you, man.
I can't wait to sit down and talk to you, man, because I got to get some understanding on how you do something. That's good shit, man. Hey, listen.
Thank you.
All I'm looking forward to, and you talking about optimism, this is why I never, ever try to put a margin on a team or try to put a ceiling on a team, especially a team like ours, man. This team ain't even scratched the surface. And I don't want to look at 4 games in the season and it's not going to tell me what this team is going to look like by game 17. It's not. It's just where they are right now. And I'm telling you guys, it's going to expand. It's going to grow. And what I'm encouraged by is I'm starting to see that breath of belief inside that. I'm looking at the sidelines. I'm looking at the coaches. I'm looking at how the players respond to each other, the moments when they need to make plays. They find that stuff is contagious.
Yeah.
So you start stacking that kind of stuff, and now it becomes, it's kind of tag team. You the next man up. Now it's time for you to go make a play. You haven't had calls come your way probably the whole first half. Now it's time for you to go make a play defensively. Now it's time for you to go make a play, and it starts to regenerate itself each game and each situation. You're looking for the guy. They're taking turns making plays. I'm starting to see some of that confidence getting breathed into the team. I'm talking about overall when you get through inspecting the all 22, there's encouraging things to be seen. And with this quarterback starting to really get a confidence in the play calling and trusting the guy that's calling the plays, now that's a large chunk of what you need.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback to buy in, believe in it, and have the talent to execute the plays. I think we're starting to get there. And I think we're starting to get there pretty quick. And the more and more of that you start to see happening, all of that's contagious. It's like everybody's giving each other an infectious disease. That shit is really, really impressive when you start looking at it from a distance, man. I'm telling you, I'm not putting a ceiling on this team. This team can catch a stride late or in the mid-season, and who knows what could happen. We're talking about trade deadline. We don't know whether we're going to be buyers or sellers. I'm going to say I think we can get 3 or 4 of those games. I'm just going to put that out there. So I'm way more optimistic than probably your average Bears fan thinks I should be. I'll just say that.
I love it. I want to get fired up. Claus, can you fire me up some more?
Yeah, so I'm going to take this literally. I'm going to say what my favorite play of the year is so far, and my favorite play is this past weekend, the pass from Caleb Rome, where he was able to be in a crowded pocket.
Yeah,
he threw a dime with anticipation before Rome actually made the break, and then he scored a touchdown. To be able to see that in a Bears uniform from both those guys, 2 guys who have to perform and have a lot of pressure on them, that fired me up so much. And I've watched that play. The flea flicker is awesome, man.
Right.
The block field goal is really cool. but that is meat and potatoes, great football play, right? That is the type of throw that we haven't been able to see a Bears quarterback be able to throw to a wide receiver that normally can't catch that type of ball or have that type of relationship that he knows I'm going to turn my head and that ball is going to be there. I love that play for the Chicago Bears. And what I love about it so much from this weekend is how positive the vibes are and the belief around the city. I saw so much more Victory Monday stuff with like random people wearing Bears stuff all over the place. I'm always decked out. I always got my hat on, whatever it is. Like I'm sure most of you guys are. But to see people on the street with more Bears stuff on, I love that for the city. And it's so great that the Bears are finally back. And it's going to be a positive end of the season going forward.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Who's next? Swanky.
So Ben Johnson, he's a coach that a lot of teams would have loved. Caleb Williams, the first overall pick in the draft, is a quarterback that so many teams would have loved. I'm looking at the New England Patriots dynasty. You got a coach on his last straw in New England and a 6th-round pick at quarterback, and they go off to win 6 Super Bowls. Can these two just get me one, please?
Just one.
Come together.
Just one.
We're covered. We've got guys. We've got coaches and quarterbacks that are desired around the league universally. Can it finally work? And I see a quarterback in Caleb Williams that has the ability to be lethal. This is a super talent. This is a quarterback that, as a sophomore in high school, had scouts and was talked about in scouting circles 7 years ago. So this is a very, very talented player. This is not the year to fully evaluate Caleb Williams. I am a believer in the year 3.
Yeah,
that is the time.
Good point.
Next year is go time, but this year you still have enough meat on the bone to go win. If you lethal, I expect ups and downs. Give him the ball with 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, guys. I felt confident and I felt good, and it feels good to feel good.
That's right.
Yes, it does.
Feels good to feel good.
Feel good.
Your quarterback, Caleb Williams made plays with his legs, made throws on the run, made the throws that you have to make in those moments. I felt great in that moment. That's what we have, and it's the it factor that you need to have. I want this to grow and grow and grow. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, push each other every single day for greatness, because you two are the only two truly that can break this curse and this little genie of mediocrity that we've been living in. So Caleb, go. I think you have the ability to go lethal on Monday night against the Commanders. So that really is my knight in shining armor for this team. Caleb Williams, your second year, keep going, keep growing with in this offense. It's going to take both of you guys.
You know what? I got to say this. I'm sorry, Aldo.
No, please.
I got to say to what Swank was saying. I'm watching that kid literally. It's like I'm watching him get bigger. And when I mean bigger, I mean literally. Like I'm watching him kind of swell up, and confidence. Like that confidence that I can do this on this level. I can dominate on this level. Wasn't always there. There was questions you can tell he had in his head. But somehow Ben Johnson has come in here. And those coaches, you got to give JT Barrett, you got to give the offensive coordinator, whoever is in Caleb's ear, whenever Ben is not in his ear, they're doing a good job of helping swell that confidence. And so you can see that swell happening during the game. And so to Swanky's point, when it gets down to, and this is something I've said, I love that part about Caleb Williams right away. When it comes down to you got to go make a play, dog, one way or the other, with your arm or with your legs. I feel totally confident in that guy's decision making. He plays backyard football, and if there's somebody open, he feels like he has the arm strength to put the ball on that guy. And so you got to have that in pressure situations. So I'm just watching that guy swell in confidence, and that's good to see.
Outstanding. I want to go to Brendan next. And Brendan didn't get a chance to share with everyone. I don't think you did, that you write for Bears Wire. And I personally want to say that Brendan writes some of the best stuff that you will find regarding Bears coverage, and I'm not saying that to suck up, he is a really good writer with great observations of the game of football. Bears Wire is lucky to have him. I know Alyssa Barbieri and you work together in managing the Bears Wire site. You guys do a great job. I try to open it up every day, in preparation for my shows, because you guys do a great job of aggregating information and sharing your own thoughts. So Brendan, kudos to you. Take it away, brother.
And thank you. Although, that means the world to me. I love writing. I always get nervous when I do it just because I always feel like I'm being judged, but that means the world, brother. Thank you very much. Just love the support from you and love being on here. And nobody else is sharing favorite plays, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take the highlight of the year. I don't care. The flea flicker, the pure throw itself. I've been watching a lot of Bears football for all my life. I know you guys certainly have as well. I still think that might be the greatest, purest throw from a Bears quarterback, from getting the pressure in his face to having to concentrate, bringing that just free throw down into his hands and still finding a wide open Luther Burden 65 freaking yards down the field. I mean, I watched that play so many times. It was probably on my phone when I fell asleep. Flat footed, exactly.
Great bomb.
Like unbelievable. And I agree with what Nomad and Swanky were saying too. Like in years past, you would see a Bears quarterback on the field and just be praying, like, please just do something for once this final time. And the last few games, when Caleb gets on the field, you just have that feeling like, all right, you're going to do something. I actually have belief. It is not a, hope and a prayer. It's that this guy is getting in control and knows the buttons to push. And that helps with the marriage and trust between him and the head coach. I hope to see more passes, more concepts downfield that get other players involved. I think Rome Odunze right now, aside from the one Luther Burden play, Odunze is really the only big threat you have downfield that you feel comfortable with. Hopefully that becomes Loveland when he gets healthy. And as I said before, I think DJ Moore hopefully will get a little bit more opportunities. But look, as I said, I'm a writer and I'm very much into storytelling and narratives. And in 2 weeks, we and the Bears have the chance to flip the script and change the story and exercise the demons going into Washington. Because, guys, last year, we were in the same position. The Bears were on a winning streak. True. The vibes were good. Everybody's like, hey, we can use this bye to work on the things that we need to work on, but we're riding high and we feel confident going into this Washington game. And the offense stalled. The defense was lucky enough to just hold Washington to field goals. And then, of course, we know what happens. But that truly broke the team. Everything that we've read, everything that we've heard, that was the moment that the floodgates opened and they never stopped. So now I think, like, maybe some people want to say, no, that's last year. That's, water on the bridge. Just focus on playing the game. I kind of think there should be a little extra juice. And I think Ben Johnson is the kind of guy to actually lean into that and say, this is why I'm here. Like, this game was the reason that I'm here now. Let's go out and show that we are a completely different team and show that we are capable of hanging with the runner-ups of the NFC, the NFC conference, and then go on that run like we talked about. So I'm excited to see what happens in 2 weeks. And I think a win in Washington will truly cement that belief that we had all talked about. And this team can start to become really dangerous.
Outstanding. Before go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Aldo. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have one more segment. If somebody needs to leave quickly, just put in the private chat, tell me that you need to leave and we'll give you the proper send-off. Let's go with Jeff's thoughts first on this topic, and then we'll go to our last segment. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to add real quick, and you guys all made great points about all those stories. And Brendan, I 100% agree with you about that Washington game. They're going to have an extra chip on their shoulder for that one. They're going to want to come out guns a-blazing. And honestly, I think they kind of have to. If they come out of that game with the win, they're going to be feeling really good about themselves. We're talking about a possible opposite trajectory from last year. It went totally downhill after the game last year. Maybe it goes uphill this year after that game. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards, and I agree with you on that one. But as far as like the throws are concerned, the big plays, Look, I 100% agree about the flea flicker. That throw was unbelievable. I agree with the throw to Rome, the touchdown last week. And by the way, that throw was a freaking piss missile that he made where he scored that touchdown with anticipation. But I think honest to God, I think my favorite throw this year, and I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Last week in the Dallas game, there was a throw. It was late in the game. I want to say it was the fourth quarter. Caleb has like immediate pressure in his face on this throw, and he throws off his back foot. Rome is on the right sideline. He throws it to him, and it's like I cannot believe he even got the ball off, number one, and how much velocity he had on it to get this ball to Rome to even make this catch, and he ends up picking up a first down. That showed a ton of growth to me. Number one, being able to see your hots there, get rid of the football with pressure in your face, and number two, just having that physical talent to even make that throw shows you that that's the kind of thing where you think, okay, this is the guy here if he's going to be doing that on a consistent basis, because he picks up a first down with that, and it doesn't look like much, but that was an unbelievable throw to make. So I think that was my favorite throw I've seen all year, but just because of that reason, and it really did show growth to me as well. So
outstanding. All right, guys, it looks like all of us can stay for this last segment, which I am calling.
Let's go. Going rogue. We're going rogue. Here we go. I'm going rogue.
So we can talk about anything we want. We are going rogue. And what I want to do is start with just handling a couple of questions that were posed during the course of the show. I picked a few. Foster is asking, who is the best offensive tackle on this team? And I bet the majority are going to say Darnell Wright. But is it really Darnell Wright? And, a lot of people are down on him because of the penalties. They think that because he was a top 10 pick, he should be playing at a higher level. They're questioning whether he should get a contract extension unless he shows improvement in his play. Let's talk about the offensive tackle of this team. You need at least 3 Pro Bowl caliber players on your offensive line. Is Darnell Wright one of them?
Yeah,
go ahead, Brendan. Go ahead. Please, sorry.
Okay, I'll go quick. Look, it's Darnell Wright until further notice. I was impressed what I saw from Trapillo in the second half on Sunday. Same with Benedict. But Darnell Wright is the only one who has been consistent as maybe not like an elite tackle, but definitely a good tackle. The penalties, it's the only big concern with me, and I've been saying it now for a while. I gotta say, I got ratioed quite a bit in training camp when I was like, Darnell Wright, like the false starts and penalties are really messing with him. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? He doesn't get many false starts. He didn't get penalized. And then I'm even going back to like previous training camps too. I'm like, I've seen it. I'm like Craig Robinson. I seen it every single year. It's been a problem. So, but when it comes to his play, he's still the best. We'll see if somebody like Benedict or Trapillo can upstage him. But it's definitely him.
Go ahead, Nomad. I'm sorry I stepped on you.
No, it's all right, man. There's no question he's the best tackle on this team, in my opinion. I'll argue with anybody about that. I just wonder, outside of the pre-snap penalties and stuff like that, would we have an unfavorable opinion of Darnell Wright when you look at his sets, play in and play out, when he has to block, pass block, run block, and the things that he has to do play in and play out? It's let's just say I've seen Darnell Wright play at about about an 85 to close to 90% clip at times during his career since he's been a Bear. This year, you add the pre-snap penalties to it and some of the herky-jerky that he has going on right now, it's somewhere down around 75%. But that's still the best offensive tackle on this team. But I just wonder why. You know what I mean? And we've been hearing stuff about cadence and all that kind of stuff. And is everything symmetrically aligned? I would say this, and this just goes to the whole entire unit. I don't think the unit is gelled yet. And there was times when I seen like everybody on the right side, that includes the center, the guard, and the tackle, jump off at the same time. That's usually an indicator of inconsistencies in the cadence for me. And so I would, yes, Darnell Wright has to own that. But at the same time, I don't know if we want to attribute it all to Darnell Wright. I would just say that. Because
that's a great point.
Right. The next week, although it's Jonah Jackson. So something's amiss there to me.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that we all as fans, and I think most of us do, but sometimes we step into that line of being quick to judge players after 2, 3, 4 games and not accounting for the new coaching system, the new plays, new guy next to him on the left or the right, whatever. There's just so many changes with this team. And that's why, I have this aspirational feeling that this team could continue to get better and better and better and surprise us, perhaps with a playoff spot, this season. So we'll see. All right. Who else has not talked on this topic yet?
Am I still on here? You guys hear me?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. My screen disappeared. I was about to hit the chat. There I am. Am I here? Here I am. Yeah, I'm still here, I think. I was like, what happened? There's someone missing from the squares. Who is it? I'm like, oh, it's me. I think it's I think it absolutely is Darnell Wright. Did we miss him on Sunday? I thought so. Yeah. I thought he would have made a huge difference. Now, is Max Crosby going to terrorize him too? I don't know. But it wasn't, I think the cadence is an issue. I think it's getting better. The holding penalties are a problem, but I made a video defending Darnell Wright a couple weeks ago, and people were most of the time it's pretty much, I got a good wavelength of what's going on, and people were very down on him. And I just don't see it that way. I think that he has to be the best tackle until proven otherwise. And we, the Bears, need him to perform at a higher level. It's not to where you hope he would be yet. He's not Penei Sewell, which you wish he would be, but it doesn't mean he can't continue to get better as the season goes on. And I think this weekend proved that they absolutely missed him and that they would have been much better off with him on the field.
Yeah, good point. All right, I know there's one guy left. Who hasn't talked on this topic yet?
I haven't spoken on it. I haven't spoken on it, but I'm like everybody else, man. It's Darnell Wright. 10th overall pick. His name is the last that's been called Sunday after Sunday. It is what it is, man. We needed him. We saw how bad we looked without him when we played against the Raiders. I don't know if he would have had Max Crosby contained. I think he would have had him contained early on, and it just lets you know how much we need him. And we need to get him extended here soon because Caleb's going to need him on that right side, man. Because it's gonna. You have to start a youth movement. He's part of that youth movement because Tony's older. Dalman's older, Jonah Jackson's older, so you need Darnell Wright as that 10th overall pick to be the best tackle that you have. So far he's done that this season, and hopefully he heals and continues to be better and come back better than what he was.
You think that the Bears would entertain during this bye week of getting Wright some reps at left tackle?
You know what? Oh man, because I want to say because Trapillo played on the right side, but I hope it wasn't a flash in the pan. It was one game, and he did very well. So let's just pump the brakes and see can he do it again. But I'm not opposed to him getting on the left side and see can he play left side because I'm all about whatever works. If it's better with him on the left side and we could put Trapillo on the right side, then it is what it is. So I'm not opposed to it if it works. Not at all. As long as my quarterback is standing up, not getting hit, I do not care. And guys are lining up, I do not care. As long as he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Nomad, you're a trenches guy. What do you think about Wright, moving to left tackle? Would you like to see it? I personally don't think it's going to happen because it would have happened in the preseason, but maybe they're at a point now where they might entertain it during this bye week. What do you think?
What's funny about it, although, is start thinking about contractually. They're going to have to start entertaining his agent and himself in contract conversations.
That's a good point.
The most, the left tackles or the right tackles. If they put him on the left side and he starts to perform, my guy Kez, his pocket share kind of goes up. His wallet share kind of goes up a little bit. And I would just say this. I've said this 1,000 times on the channel, man, on our channel. I don't know why they haven't entertained that yet. There is all kinds of evidence that I can point to when I watch this cat before he came to the Bears, from his freshman season until he came out. There are people that will tell you that Darnell Wright's not a good left tackle. Tell them to give you the proof. Tell them to show you that Darnell Wright's not a good left tackle. Tell them to show you that. And I bet you they will struggle to find that. When I saw the good on good, best on best, Darnell Wright against Alabama, who had some of the best edge rushers in that draft class, as a freshman and a sophomore, he whooped their asses. He whipped on both sides, left and right. But I would just say this. He's got more experience on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean he can't perform at a high clip on the left side. I think they made a mistake not making sure that he got left tackle reps in case of situations like this. You drafted a right tackle, and so why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think they made a huge mistake. I think they overprojected what Ozzie Trapillo can do early, and they got smacked in the face. Now they're faced with a situation where they may have to, just for the sake of making sure we have the right amount of depth, give Darnell Wright some of those reps. And it's not going to hurt anything. They may not even actually start him over there. But just to know that he's got some of the reps over there and got some muscle memory going on, if you have to put him there, you feel comfortable. So I think they should have done it a long time.
Good stuff, guys. Let me go to another question here. This is a fun one from Cliff. What happens first? The Bears get a Super Bowl or a stadium is completed?
Super Bowl, because they're not getting that money.
Yeah. Go ahead, Claus. You broke the news to me about what the Bears said just an hour or so before we went on the air.
I just don't think they're going to get the money. I'm tired of these billionaires getting stadiums built by taxpayer money. I thought the whole idea of going to Arlington Heights was to not have to pay for it. And I understand they're saying this infrastructure plan. That doesn't mean anything to me. Stay in Soldier Field. Soldier Field, they need to get out of Soldier Field because parking sucks, because the concessions suck, because the bathroom times are terrible, because the in and out is miserable. The in-game experience at Soldier Field is awesome. The sound system's great. The video boards are great. The seats are awesome, right? The vendors are around getting up and down. So the only reason I was like, yeah, go to Arlington Heights, because I thought they were going to buy their own damn stadium. And now they want us to pay for it. And so I'm out. I'm out on Arlington Heights. I don't want to deal with that. That they just got valued at $8.9 billion, and they want $1 billion of taxpayer money for infrastructure for Arlington Heights. It's a problem. It doesn't make any sense. And so I am very frustrated with the way this stadium's going, because Kevin Warren was coming here to build a stadium. And I'm a season ticket holder. I'm at that stadium every single home game. And I want out, to be honest. I want out of that stadium. It's not an enjoyable experience in and out of there. But
Agreed.
Going to Arlington is supposed to be where they pay for it. And if you can't afford to pay for it, sell the damn team so someone who's a winner and wants to put money back into the program can take over and build their own stadium. It's very frustrating. And I just think, I think the Bears deserve it. The franchise and the fans deserve it. Gillette Stadium is awesome. I went there this summer. I did a tour. They have a lighthouse. You can look at the whole stadium year round. They have a Hall of Fame and a pro shop that's open year round. They have an entire pavilion that's all restaurants and hotels and a place to hang out in when it's not the season. That is awesome. That's what I thought was going to happen in Arlington Heights without taxpayer money. And now it's taxpayer money. So I am out on a new stadium. Super Bowl before stadium.
Damn.
I will say this. I do think that probably what will happen is some kind of a loan to the Chicago Bears to help pay for infrastructure. There have been new state-of-the-art stadiums built where the state was basically paid back by the football team over a number of years for those infrastructure costs. I think that's probably the only way this is going to happen with Pritzker, who has not shown any support at all to the McCaskey family for building a stadium anywhere. And, and what will probably happen is what's happened in some other states where they've negotiated something with the McCaskey family. And Claus, I appreciate your passion and your sentiment on this is that, I don't want to pay. I live in Arlington Heights, so I'd love to have it. It will probably increase my property value and my taxes. So I'm kind of screwed either way.
I think it's going to end up in Hammond. I think they're
Oh,
in
no.
Indiana. No, I'm listen. I'm just a whole.
No.
Northwest Indiana wants to have football teams.
Yes, they do.
They want
It's
professional
your own
teams.
damn team, man.
Listen,
We ain't going no damn Indiana.
hey, listen, I'm with you.
Jaguars and Cardinals.
I'm with you. I think it should be in Illinois, but I'm just saying if the governor's down here saying we're not giving you any money, and now they're saying they want more money, and they still owe money on Soldier Field, and Indiana says we'll pay you to come here and have your stadium here, and we'll give you tax breaks here in Hammond, Indiana, where we want professional sports teams. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it happen. Don't let anyone get.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Can I jump in?
Of course.
I'll tell you what, man. I love Soldier Field. I always have. I always will. I grew up in the west suburbs, and going to games growing up, living in the downtown for the year and a half that I did, and going to games. I really think it's hard to get into Soldier Field, in and out of Soldier Field. My experience, anecdotally, I think it's very, very overrated that it's hard to get in and out of. I don't have that experience personally. I love the stadium being in, right in the city. That's where we need to be, right off the lake, man. So
Doesn't matter.
I personally don't want Arlington Heights. I'm sure I'll learn to love it if it happens. I want this stadium to be. I want the Bears to be playing in downtown Chicago. I think they really messed up when they redid Soldier Field back in the early 2000s. Is they wanted to keep the old arches, and they basically built on top of the old stadium, making it the smallest stadium in the entire NFL. How can you possibly let that happen, Chicago? So that was really the big defect. But I want them to stay in Chicago. Going off to Arlington Heights, like I'm sure I'll be frustrated with it. But once it happens, I'm sure it'll be really, really cool to see, what kind of experience we as Bears fans could have for a really long time. So I'm going to say Super Bowl before stadium, baby.
I think that's a good bet. Brendan, you got thoughts on this?
Well, I am very biased because I am also out in the northwest suburbs, not too far from Aldo. So this is great for me. And I'm coming from the opposite way too, which is even better. But look, I do think that, of course, the Bears are trying to pull one over on everybody saying, hey, we don't want to have people pay for the stadium. We're going to do that ourselves. But now we have all of this other 300 how many acres that's left without the stadium that we need to fill, and we're going to have so many different movie theaters and gyms and mixed use residential buildings and parks and all that, and it's going to be open to the public and everybody can use it. So of course that's what they're trying to do. I understand, like, that land, it is going to be a boom for that area, and I do think eventually they figure out a way to, whether it's a loan or Pritzker ends up caving to actually put in money towards like the development, for Arlington Heights, and not only that, but Palatine and Rolling Meadows, the surrounding suburbs there. So I will say the stadium gets built first. I'm very excited about it. I'm a little meh on the renderings. They look good, but there's no character. It feels very cookie cutter. I do, as much as Soldier Field pains me and pisses me off, I think it's a pain in the ass to get to. But I will say, when you're in the stadium, you do feel the history. The sight lines are great. I just hope that whatever stadium gets built, there is that character that's built in, that, like, this is, even though they're not in the city of Chicago, it's still Chicago. It's still the traditions. It's still, like, celebrating the 100+ years of Bears football. I just really hope that's out there. But I'll say that the Bears host Super Bowl, whatever it is, in 2032, and the Chicago Bears are playing in that, and that is the Super Bowl that we will see.
Wow. What, man? I really say I'm going to.
All right, guys, fight it out.
Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, I'm going to say I want to go to Arlington Heights, man. I want that nice drive away from the city, man. That nice, crisp September day, 72 degrees. Me and my wife and the kids, we're going up to Chicago Bearland. You know what I mean? I want to see the exit sign that says Chicago Bearland 5 miles. You know what I mean? I'm born and raised Chicago, West Sider by birth, North Sider, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, I'm sold on Arlington Heights. I want something new. I want different seats. I want different entryways and exits, and different looks at the tailgating for everybody. Like, I'm just here for a whole new experience. The lake is cool. It's right there by the Shed Aquarium, all the sights, all that. That's fine. But let's stop acting like cheap billionaires, man, to actually just do something great with the money and rebuild something totally new to usher in a new era of Bears football with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. The fan base deserves it, man. We deserve it. That stuff out there, Arlington, looks real nice. I would love to see the hotels around there, the restaurants around there, just a whole experience. Get there on a Saturday night, you know what I mean? Get to a hotel room and listen about Bears stuff on YouTube, or listen to my guy Claus or Brendan and pull up on Bears Wire, you know what I mean? And get me a room, get something to eat. That's what I want to do. That's what Arlington Heights provides. I don't think I'll get the same vibe just by being on the lake. I would really love something totally different heading up to Sunday, going up there on a Sunday to watch the Bears play that Saturday night, man, hanging out with my family. Maybe see a couple of you guys up there making it a thing, man.
That's right. You stop by my crib, we'll eat and have a couple of drinks. Who knows what else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, make it a thing.
I just want to see, like, the in-game experience is what is the most important part of the whole thing. And I think that the idea of the skyline being behind doesn't change my in-game experience on a week in, week out basis.
Great point.
And I think that part of it is overrated, in my opinion. It's not something I go, man, I'm really here to look at the skyline. I'm here to watch the Chicago Bears, and I want to have a great experience, and I want to leave my seat, take a piss, grab a beer, and be back in 10 minutes. And you know a place I can do it, and I hate to say this, I'm going to say it out loud. Lambeau, you 100% could do that, and the seats are a lot tighter, and the stadium is deep in there. But you walk out, you walk in your concessions, you grab your beer because they have the automatic vendors, and then you go take your piss, and you come back, and you're gone for 5 minutes. In Chicago, you can't get a burger in the stadium. I'm in 330. Okay, you can't go to get a cheeseburger and get a beer. It's terrible experience.
Yeah.
And so the idea of being next to the lake doesn't change that. Wherever you can fix that, that is where I want it to be. But in the preseason, I turned off Columbus. I went later than normal. I got down there at 11. I turned on down to Lakeshore Drive. It took me 45 minutes to get to my parking lot, and everyone kept telling me I went off online. I went absolutely off because I was pissed, and everyone kept telling me, take public transportation, do this. Like, we have the parking spot. I have the place I'm supposed to be. I know exactly where my entrance is to get in the stadium, and I still can't do that at a time and place that makes sense where you can get to the game like 25 minutes beforehand. If you're not at Soldier Field 3 hours at a time, you're screwed. And so I hope that changes wherever they end up.
Nomad, before you go, Swanky has to leave. So, Swanky, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here. You actually were much better in this appearance than you were in your last appearance, which was the 2024 draft, when we asked you, who do you like as a Bears draft pick? And you stumbled and bumbled and to the point where you said, maybe I should have done some homework, huh? I go, yeah, you should have. I love you, brother. He's a brother from another mother, Swanky. Anything you want to share with us before you leave?
Yeah, no, I'll just say, I love listening to you guys. I've always been a fan of Bears Barroom, and man, it's just an exciting time, you guys. I know it's hard being a Bears fan, but the Bears always kind of have that way to kind of niche right back into competitiveness. And there's so many different elements to what goes into a great football team, and just that's so cool to be able to talk about something that I love so much, like the Bears, and to experience it with fans that love it as much as I do. It's so cool. And there's only 17 games a year, so there's so much emphasis and there's so much importance in all 17 of these games. So and just a quick little rundown on how I think the season's going to go. I mean, I had 8 and 9 coming into this year, but I want the offense to be at least 16th, and I want by the last 4 or 5 weeks for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson to be automatic. So when we go into year 3, it's go time. And that's where you're getting your 4,500 yard passer, your 35 touchdown passer in Caleb Williams. And then that, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are set to go to the moon. So it's what you dream of. It's what you draw out. You draft these quarterbacks in the first round. You want this to work. And can this finally be the combination that works to break this mediocrity? I'm hoping and I'm hoping and I'm hoping and I'm hoping and I'm hoping that it is. So like I said earlier, these two need to push each other for greatness. They're the two most important things in Hallis Hall right now. And I'm just ready to watch it all unwind and unfold, man. Can they finally break through what we've always wanted? And you just got to hope that it can happen, man.
Well said, Swanky. I love you. Thanks for being here,
Love
brother.
you too, brother. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. Love you guys, man.
Peace out,
Take,
dog.
take care. Nomad, tell me about that stadium. When was the last time you were at Soldier Field?
When I was a teeny weeny little boy.
Really?
I haven't been there since I was a small child. I was ushered there with my grandparents, and I had a certain kind of experience. But look, I'm one of those guys. I don't care where the Bears land, whether it's in the city or whether it's in the suburbs. I think people selfishly, would prefer that stadium to be wherever because of their own selfish reasons. I'll swipe all that to the side. And when I go pull up to Soldier Field, wherever it's at, I'm going for the experience. I'm going for the experience. And some guy that comes to, let's say, Arlington Heights, and he wants to pull up and go to a Bears game in Arlington Heights. I just want to have that guy in a questionable situation where he has to question his judgment. There's a $5 woman on Cicero. It's going to be charging $5. That might go up to about $500 to $1,000 when she gets to Arlington. I'm just saying, I want that guy to have to question his morals when he comes up there. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have cheap stuff going on in the city, and the prices is just going to go way up when they get to Arlington Heights. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, if I go, I'm going for the experience. I want to go gamble. Make these suspect decisions.
Talk about going rogue, right?
Let's go. Going rogue. We're going rogue. Here we go. I'm going rogue.
Prostitutes and Cicero, man.
Hey, man.
Listen,
that's real, man. That's a layer to this. That's a layer, isn't it?
$5 on Cicero Avenue. Brendan and I need to take a ride. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
On Cicero, she might only cost you $5.
Guys, this has been a great time. I want to take some time so that we go around the horn and you guys share a little bit more about what you work on, where people can find your work, because you all do outstanding work, and everyone in the chat has been paying you guys compliments, and you deserve every one of them. Claus, let's start with you, brother.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Aldo and I and Brendan actually played golf a couple of weeks ago.
That's
and it
right.
was great to meet them, and it's great to finally do some stuff online with them. But I'm Claus Up Bear Down on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X. Most of my stuff is short form content, so reels, things like that, TikTok. But I'm starting to go into the streaming, podcasting, YouTube stuff more and more, especially at this weekend. So I'm a season ticket holder. I'm at every game. I just feel, and I'm as authentic as I can be. So I will talk my truth and I will speak my mind. And sometimes it comes out where I'm trading DJ Moore instantly. But I just love the Chicago Bears. And hopefully, if you feel that same passion, if you want to go ahead and drop a follow or subscribe to my channel, it's Claus Up Bear Down on all those social channels. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother. Brandon, what you got for us?
All right. Well, first off, I gotta say, has anybody ever told you sound just like Brian Urlacher?
No, but I love that. That's my favorite player.
I swear to God, I
noticed
when you
that.
talk, I just hear it. I just hear Brian Urlacher talking.
That's my guy. That's
You
my
might
guy.
be onto
Urlacher.
something. Yeah, you
Thank
do
you.
sound like
It looks like him a little bit
Right?
too, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the old haircut. I don't have the new Urlacher haircut. I got the Urlacher haircut. And I don't have the cool tattoo, unfortunately.
That's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Oh man,
I'll take that.
I just kept I'm seriously. I kept noticing it. It was great. So yeah, as Aldo said, my big thing is I'm the assistant editor at Bears Wire, part of USA Today's sports media group. I'm thrilled to work with just some fantastic writers. Of course, Alyssa Barbieri, Vinny Parisi, Mike Pendleton. We're all just grinding away. I recently just interviewed Matt Forte last week. I put out just a whole extensive interview that I did with him, and then highlighted his Hall of Fame snub that he was very passionate about, actually. So make sure you check that out. That was just reposted today. And then in addition, I do guest work on Bears on Tap, and then occasionally on the Irish Bears show as well. So don't have my own show right now. I'm kind of enjoying just doing focusing on writing and doing some guest work. Like with you guys here, like this is the stuff I love, to just jump on and talk Bears and have some fun conversations. And the last thing I'll say, my mantra all year has been, it's never going to be as good as you think it is, and it's never going to be as bad as you think. So as the losses and wins come and go, and we're riding the roller coaster, just remember that it's never as bad as it seems, never as good as it seems, and to just embrace the roller coaster, because as Swanky said before he left, we only get 17 football games. Let's enjoy them and just embrace every moment we get.
Outstanding. G, what you got for us?
What's going on, man? It's G Walker, one half of the CNG Podcast. That's also me, CJ Allen, and my boy Shaw from the South Side, man. And what the type of content I provide is, I do post-game, we do pre-game, we do analysis, we do breakdown. Just a little bit of my personal background. I'm a retired Navy. My background was very corporate America, man, business management and human resources. So I just took everything that I've learned from the government world and the corporate world, and I'm just incorporating that into the digital realm. It's been very, very promising and very, very something that I thought I would never do. So it's been very rewarding as far as the people I've met in a short amount of time, whether that's the Windy City Productions, whether that's Nick Roti, whether that's the Barroom Network, and Brendan, and everybody else that I'm learning along the way, meeting along the way, is Nomad, people I've been a fan of for years, man, and just getting onto the podcasts and the streaming stuff and doing it right now at this point has been nothing more than a gift, and it's been super fun just to get up into these rooms with everybody that I've been watching, man. So that's just it, man. If you want funny stuff, go to CNG Podcast, G Walker on Twitter. You want serious stuff, come pull up on us on pre-game on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Central, and pull up on us on the post game like 30 minutes after the game, and we're going to give you everything we can from an analysis standpoint, from a human standpoint, to everything. So that's it. G Walker, CNG Podcast. Follow me on X, Twitter, Facebook.
Great job tonight, brother. Nomad, what you got for us?
First of all, shout out to all you guys, G-Walk, Swank, Jeff, Claus, all you guys, Brendan, of course, man. Come on back to the show, man. We can do some more content. Everybody, man. Aldo, thank you for having me back to the mothership. Thank you for having me back to the mothership. The mothership connection and the Barroom is real, man. He just births babies all the time, and I'm just one of them. My channel. And he's he needs to probably get some kind of surgery so he can quit having babies all the time.
Tell me about it.
It's a lot of us guys out here that are having podcasts and having success, largely due to a lot of what Aldo does over here.
Oh, get out of here, man.
I'm just saying, man. I appreciate you, dog. You'll always be that guy to me, man. For
Thank
real.
you, man. Thank you.
Always. And I just want to thank everybody that came and listened and watched the show. Everybody's going to watch it on replay. Thank you all. Thank you for the comments. And I just want to say we'll be live tomorrow on the Nomad Network at 8 p.m. Central with some extra sauce, where we go deep into Bears football. And we might stray off into a UFO conversation or a 31 Atlas. If they don't beat my ass on the show and make me stop talking about it, we'll take it. So I just appreciate everybody. I appreciate the Bears community that give us life, man. We couldn't do any of it without this Bears community supporting everything that we do. So that's a shout out to everybody, every single person here, and especially Aldo, man. Thank you for the connection.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Jeff, what you got for us?
Well, first of all, it's great to quote unquote meet all you guys here tonight for the first time. I had a lot of fun on the show with y'all. It was a really great time. A couple places you can find. Obviously, you guys can find me here on the Barroom. This is where I have my show, Willis Twin Towers. I have with my brother Tim, who obviously is my twin brother. We're not exactly tall. The show is actually a play on words, Willis Twin Towers, because obviously you have the Willis Tower, which is really the Sears Tower in Chicago, but then there are the Twin Towers in New York. So Tim and I are actually pretty short. We're only about 5'9" and 5'8". So it was really more or less a joke than anything else. But that's the name of the show, Willis Twin Towers, here on Barroom. It's on Friday nights at 7 Central Time. I'm on Pacific Time, so I always get confused with that number. But 7 Central Time on Fridays. We're here live every night. And I'd love to have any of you guys here on the show with us. I really appreciated, like I said, meeting y'all and discussing stuff with you. So please, if any of you would like to come on the show sometime, I'd love to have all of you. Other than that, the other work I do is I do some writing myself also with Bear Report, which is an arm of 24/7 Sports. I usually have about a story a week on there. I'm pretty new to them. I've only been doing it for about a month and a half now. So my story last week was about Ashton Genty, who ended up running all over the Bears, as you guys know. And I haven't written my story yet this week. I'll probably write it tomorrow night for Thursday. But be on the lookout for that. That's where you can find my work. And you can also find me on X or Twitter at _Jeff Willis. So I appreciate all you guys' support here on the Barroom and any follows we get and the subscriptions we have here to the channel. Excuse me. But yeah, love the time tonight here, guys.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these 2.5 hours, 3 hours, it looks like. Didn't expect it to go that long, but that always happens when you're having a good time, right? You got to go home and tell your wife, I'm sorry, honey.
My wife was like, I'm going to bed 2 hours ago. She was
mine too.
You lucky guys.
Yeah.
But I just want to finish by saying we have a great community of Bears content creators. And I love it when we share each other's work, put ourselves in the spotlight, because all true Bears fans, and I'm talking about Bears fans who are really passionate about this sport and this team, are much better served by the people on the screen and a number of others who weren't here tonight, because we know this team. We're passionate about this team. We spend hours researching and talking about this team. And our point of view, and I said it at the top of the show, but some of these national guys, they say stuff and you just wonder, what the hell? This guy is making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. You know, that money would be much better spent with G. Walker and Brendan and Jeff and Claus and Nomad and other people who are Bears content creators. And I know this is hyperbole and it's never going to happen, but that's how I feel in my heart. I've worked at CBS. I've worked for big time stations and so forth. And I could tell the difference between work that's done by professionals and work that's done by semi-professionals, but people who are really, really involved and attached to what they are covering. And like somebody who is talking about something that they don't give a shit about. I hate that. I hate giving them my money and I hate giving them my time. And this time here, these 3 hours have been very well spent. I had a great time and I learned a lot from you guys. And I can't wait to do it again, guys.
All right. Thank you, Aldo.
You got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you,
Man.
With that, we'll sign off. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
All right.
We'll be right back.